Everyone, how you doing? This is Ray Park. You may know me as Darth Maul in Phantom Menace, Maul in Solo, and Snake Eyes in G.I. Joe. You're watching me on the Down the Road Show. May the Force be with you. SITH RULE. Watch out.
I'm extremely excited to welcome in the next guest today. His name is Jeff Wolfe. How you doing today, Jeff?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, all things considered. It's a pleasure to talk to you. We go back a long ways. Let's tell people why I have you on the podcast today. You're a director, and you got two awesome short films that I love. Let's talk about those first.
Sure. Yeah, basically a 25-year stunt career that segued into second unit directing. And while second unit directing some network shows that people might remember, like Revolution or Rush Hour, the TV show, or MacGyver, I had some of the networks in pushing to be a director. And of course, they see you as an action guy, as a stunt guy, say, well, we know you can shoot action really great and all that other stuff, but can you get the tone of a scene? So I said, well, yeah, I'll show you. And I the next week I went and shot a short. I wrote and shot a short in a week, basically. Shot it in one day, and then got it to them, and they loved it. And then I ended up that short, Penance, won I believe about 22 or 23 film festivals for best actor, best director, so on and so forth. Did really well,
which is awesome. Yeah.
So that spurred the bug kind of to get moving on that direction. And then the next one, that was about a 12-minute short. The next one was a 25-minute short called Day of Reckoning. I like choosing easy topics, not too heavy. So the first one was about Catholic school and Catholic priests and child molestation. The second one was about what's called sorry, I can't think right now. The sex trafficking. So again, like, you know, I like polarizing subjects, heavy subjects, making people think, maybe making people feel. And, you know, how better than to throw them and show them a tone of a scene that you can direct and do that stuff with zero action from a guy they expected action from to go and do that. So, yeah, that was my.
But walking away from both of those, neither one, even though they're heavy subject matter, leaves you just walking away feeling just gross and heavy.
No, yeah, no. Penance was basically a turnabout, kind of like a oh crap, you went there kind of thing. And Day of Reckoning was kind of like the idea, almost like a Joker light before the Joker came out, which to me, what the Joker tells us is there's reasons, not necessarily good reasons, but behind the reasons for actually why somebody is the way they are, and does society have a part in that? So Day of Reckoning is kind of the same way. In a way, you're rooting for, in this case, the bad girl as opposed to the bad guy.
Right. And I loved it. I enjoyed seeing it at Comic-Con, and I was happy you invited me.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a good time. In fact, that did work out. You know, sometimes we're doing shorts for reasons, you know, it's not really, you're not going to make $1 million on them, but you're going to get exposure. And the Comic-Con one worked out really well for me. That actually led to a film, one of 3 that are out for financing right now, that actually is with the producer of the creator of Chucky, Child's Play, Hocus Pocus, Frailty, Curious George, American Tail, 50 Goes West, all those things.
All the greats. Yeah, love all those.
Amazing guy. And he came to me with a script. And so we're in the process of working on that and getting that financed to do actually a horror movie, kind of an old school haunting tale, which is really cool. I'm really excited about it. I've been working on it. I've been storyboarding. I've been, you know, we've actually been together on it for about 9 months, and now it's actually out to some bigger production companies for financing. So we'll see where we go.
Ooh, I'm excited. Let me tell you though, when they canceled Revolution, I was pissed. I love that show, and I was
You and me both, because I was that close to directing it.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, that's one of the reasons I was pissed. Yeah. But not just that. Like, me and my sister watched it every week. It was just a fun show. I love all things, you know, dystopia and things like that. But it was a completely different twist than any other kind of, you know, than The Walking Dead and all the other dystopia shows out there. So,
that was, out of all that I've done, that was probably the closest to my heart, because I got to do. It was just so creative for me. It was almost like I was directing between creating all the choreography and the characters, doing all the action. I got to, I don't know if you know, I created the swords and therefore the style with the hand, you know, with the brass knuckles and the things and all that. It was a lot of fun. It's a great show.
Yeah, I want one of those swords. But that leads me into exactly this, that the Oscars were this weekend, and Brad Pitt just won an Oscar for playing a stunt actor. And as far as I'm aware of, he may have just been the very first A-list celebrity ever on the Oscars to tell the Oscars and the Academies that they are lacking in stunt performers awards. Now, here's the biggest cop-out going on out there that I hate this. This is the stupidest thing. And so being a stunt actor yourself and a stunt coordinator and a director, I hate this cop-out, so please respond to this. Why they don't want to add those is because they're afraid that now stunt actors will go above and beyond and get more hurt. And that's the dumbest reason I've ever heard, because if you've ever met anyone who's a stunt actor, that's like telling a skateboarder not to try a 1080. It's right in your blood anyway. So let's talk about that and how important stunt choreography and stunt actors and all that is to just movies, television, entertainment in general.
Sure. I mean, I think that's completely asinine for them to start off with that one. All that is it's the next layer of excuses in a long list of excuses.
Exactly.
From my 5 years in this business, what I know is that old school, like the Academy members have been there for a long time. Some of them have been there for decades. And decades ago, the idea was the stunt person is hidden, and the actor, there was a suspended disbelief that was pushed in all the films and such, which made a lot of sense at the time. But we're 2020, and people know that there are doubles and that there are stunt people, and that actor is not jumping off a 30-story building. And even the guys that do, if they are jumping off it, it's because somebody else did it before them, tested it, put it together, made sure it was safe and known, and then they could do it. Takes nothing away from the actors like it used to. So that excuse is gone, but the people who are still in that mentality are not all gone from the Academy. So there's a bit of that going on.
Right.
When you add that to the idea that's mixed up, there's a mix up, I think, between stunt coordinators getting recognized and second to directors and stunt performers getting an award. I think down the road, there could be a category for a stunt performer that makes sense if it fits in, but just like there's 2 categories for sound, 2 categories for editing, right now, all we're looking for is one. We're looking for one that doesn't have to be televised. We don't have to have the excuse to make the show longer, but one category, it's the Academy of Arts and Science. So it is an art and a science for a stunt coordinator / second unit director to take a script that says a fight scene happens and so gets away. And then in that time, create this crazy fight scene, action, building to building, through windows, whatever the hell they do, and make that work for film and make it safe. Those people, if they had 5 of those up for an award and we picked the best one for that is that person doing their job to add to the art and the science of the motion picture, which, as we all know, adds to what they put in the trailer, adds to even what they show in the trailer, even at the Academy Awards half the time, and yet there's still no category. So all this about, it's just another grasping at straws to make an excuse. And I believe that, Brad was the first one to actually mention it at the awards, which is pretty amazing. The only sad part, and it takes nothing away from what he did, but was, I think that it's funny how they went right to the political comment that he made about it, and they didn't much about what he said about the stunt thing. So, again, everything that behooves them to ignore it is kind of where they're at right now. But we're getting there. I mean, that's definitely a step beyond where we've ever been. So.
Yeah, and like you said, start with just one award. We're not trying to make the show longer, but it is about recognition, and all the fight choreographers, the people who set up the action, to the people who film it. It's usually a different director a lot of times who actually does the filming of those stunts as well. It's just as important as a score. Whereas in John Williams is one of my favorite people who have ever scored a movie. He scored every favorite movie I've ever had, pretty much. There's certain fight choreographers and stunt actors that are your A-list people that work in the industry.
It's true. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We like to call them talented motherfuckers.
and you are talented as hell too. So yeah, we've been friends a long time, and I've loved watching you and your career. So I'm super excited for that to get budgeted and to see what you direct. So as someone who's, big budget is where the money is, and those always have action in it. Like, every time I watch you get your butt kicked by Scarlett Johansson, it makes me happy.
Right. Yeah. Huge budgets are fun, no doubt.
Yeah. So, what is it that you're watching? What are you geeking out on? What have you been like nerding out on lately?
Wow, that's a really good question. And the reality is, it's funny. I've been so focused on the directing and the things that I'm doing. There's two things that I'm doing right now. One is a lot of horror movies. So I've been watching every horror movie that's out there, and enjoying them. But it was never really my genre. Like, it was always action.
You have to. Yeah, you have to. Those horror genre nuts are crazy nuts. And I'm talking to a lot of my Facebook friends right now.
I'm literally going to movies that, like, there are 5 people in the audience and it just came out, but I have to be in the movie to see it. So I did, like 2 days ago, I did that. But so that, and then the other thing I'm actually doing right now, which is interesting, is I'm doing a documentary. I'm starting in about 3 weeks. I'm directing a documentary, and kind of way different out of my ballpark, but it kind of fell in my lap, and it's an amazing story. It's about cerebral palsy.
Oh.
And it's actually a guy who escaped communism in Poland, came to America, won 2 gold medals as a U.S. Olympic gold medalist, and then started training this kid with cerebral palsy and made a difference in his life. And so
that's a story that needs to be told. Yeah.
Pretty amazing. So we're heading up to the Bay Area in a few weeks to shoot the first part of that. We've got about 4 different locations throughout the States to go track certain people down and talk to people, hoping to have that done by September and see if we can get it into Sundance by next year. That's the plan.
Yeah. So yeah, you're just doing a lot of research right now, and that's a lot of the key in the industry. People think, oh, you've done one thing and you're famous. You know, for all the regular people out there,
right.
The actors, directors, the regular people like you with just extraordinary jobs. But if you're not pushing and you're not out there constantly even trying to create your own content, then you're not working.
It's insane. Literally, I'm here in my office. I've got 3 projects that I've written that I've got on the board. I've got 2 or 3 films, like I said, with the Chucky creator, and then this documentary that we're doing right now. And you walk into a Starbucks, and once in a blue moon, somebody will go, "Are you the guy that got your head smashed in and drive or something?" And and people think like, "Oh yeah, you're set, dude. You were blah blah." I was like, "Yeah, I worked a week on that. Like, that's not the story of my life. This is what we do." But the blessing is, on the other side of that coin, this is what we do. Like, I have this office in my house, and I sit here and I put this stuff together, and once in a while we get to go out and make it. So
yeah, which I'm rooting for, everybody out there who's creative and is trying to create their own stuff. And you got to keep working, and you got to keep pushing. I'm still the same fat nobody on the internet that I was 10 years ago when we met.
Hey, you're not nobody, you're my friend.
Thank you, and I love you. I was at his wedding, so he's not fucking talking shit.
And I'm gaining a bit of weight sitting here right now too, so we're good.
All right, well, you know what? I've decided I want to get back to an old segment that I started 10 years ago on how I used to end every interview, and so I'm going to start that with you on this podcast, okay? All right, here we go. Who's your favorite superhero?
Oh God, I wish that we were in my theater right now, because we would have a full frame of this, but we're not, literally a full figure. But since we're not, I'm going to have to pull this in right next to me here and have this guy talk to you. I'm going to let you guess.
Not Batt Dad.
Be quiet, kid. No, not that.
You could be doing your own viral videos with that cow. That's gorgeous. Wow. Okay, I'm a little jealous. As a Superman fan, I'm jealous of that cow right there. That's gorgeous. Who's your favorite villain?
Ooh, my favorite villain. I think Loki is actually, crazy enough, my favorite villain. The reason I like Loki is that he goes back and forth. It's like any good movie. Like, who do you trust? Who do you whatever? It's not so much about the power. It's that he kind of gets in, and then every time he's out for his own thing, and you're always like, are you serious? You know what I mean? I think he's a great character. I think his own movie or his own thing would be, and plus he's been played in the movies really well by, who's it, Hiddleston? Yeah, he's amazing. So
yeah, Hiddleston's amazing, and they are actually doing a series, so it's like the series will be a prequel. I'm excited for that. And you're right, nothing like a character that plays mind games.
Yeah, I mean, that's super powerful like that, but on top of everything else is not, it's not like a one-trick pony. It's always like, what the hell is going on with it? I think that just levels to any character is way more interesting. So that's a cool character.
Absolutely, I agree. And then, so who's your real life hero? Who inspires you?
Real life hero. That's a good one. I have so many superheroes and everything else written that a real person. That's a good one. I think if I had to pull anybody out, interestingly enough, this not to brown nose or whatever, but the reality is that this producer that I'm working with that created these shows is probably like for somebody like that to come and see somebody and like the history and the things that I've done and been through and those things to see like the inspiration and the creativity and the gift and the drive to do something and break out of the shell and the mold and do these things. Somebody who's done it themselves, that's somebody that I think that is worth looking up to and has done it before themselves and then has the kind of wherewithal to continue that. There's a lot of people I find in this world, not to get too heavy, but that will make it on their own and make their own way. And that's the end of the story because they've made it. And then they get to put it on Instagram and Facebook all day and look down their nose at everybody else. There's few and far between that those people that have get there, then they turn around and they put their hand back out for somebody else. So anybody that's really like that, they're actually, their effect is multiplied. They might, this guy in all that he does gives a lot of jobs, a lot of work to people and that stuff. But when you're doing that and then you're being the same person and you're allowing other people to be that same kind of person, that person then gets to put hands out and let people, climb the ladder and help them up as well. So the net is cast really wide. So I think to me, that's kind of that's a heroic thing because it's something that you don't have to do. You do it because it's who you are.
Right. And part of creating your own legend and is paying it forward and helping those around you. Because otherwise, like you said, what kind of legacy? That's the word I'm looking for. What kind of legacy are you leaving behind?
Yeah, exactly right. Absolutely. And that's kind of an interesting segue into the point of all this and where I'm at today is the first 20 something years of this was Jet Li movies and Jackie Chan and Van Damme and Hong Kong and Thailand and all these cool places and all the martial arts stuff and the action. It was amazing. Don't get me wrong. But now there's a second act and it's basically, it's dad to a 9-year-old and 11-year-old in a world that's around us. And what do I leave to those guys and around? And what effect do I have? What is my legacy? What's left behind? And if Clint Eastwood's doing movies into his 80s, then I can be creative just the same and have 20 or 30 years that maybe in that second act, God willing, I can do something and leave something else behind that's interesting. And the responsibility of leaving two good human beings to preserve that and move forward with it. So.
Absolutely. I agree. And I love your family. Tell them all hi for me.
Thank you.
Where can everybody out there find you, find your social media, your websites, so that way they can actually find your films and go give them a look?
Yeah, thank you. Really, the main thing, do you know that Facebook has a 5,000 friend limit? Because that's weird to me, but it is. So Facebook is out there, but I think there's 12 spots left. So get on. But Instagram, once in a while I'll throw something up on there, and it's J Wolfe with an E director. JWOLFE director at JWolfe director on Instagram. So best place to get me.
Excellent. And you can just follow the links in the comment section of this video on YouTube like usual. It's a pleasure catching up with you, Jeff. Look forward to seeing you in person once I'm back in California again one day.
Awesome, man. It would be fun. I should have worn my Batman shirt. It'd be Batman versus Superman. But
we could have that discussion. That's a whole nother hour-long podcast for sure.
I'm in my theater because the Batman I have down there is actually the 6'4" Ben Affleck version. It's in there. So not my favorite Batman. However, it's the statue. So it's cool.
Okay, our next interview will be from your own home then. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Follow Jeff Wolfe. Check out all of his films and past stuff like Revolution. Love that show. And brother, we will see you somewhere down the road.
Sounds awesome. Thanks for having me.
All right. Very excited to welcome in my next guest. I have known this guy for quite a while, but one of the movies that I'm very excited to talk about with him, Sushi Girl, he was involved in. I love this movie so much. Welcome, Neal Fischer. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, thank you. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Man, Sushi Girl isn't like any other type of movie I've really seen out there. It's a hodgepodge of, it reminds me of Quentin Tarantino versus like other types of filmmakers versus in the writing, in the filming, and everything. It's got Tony Todd in it, the Candyman. It's got Mark Hamill, who is, I've never seen him play except for like this ever whatsoever. Go.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, it was really a labor of love. A good friend of mine, Kern Saxton, who co-wrote it with Destin Pfaff and directed it, came to me and asked. And originally, they were going to do like a $15,000, really ultra small budget. They'd have their friends all acting in it, and they basically, knowing that I am kind of the resident specialist about Japan, they're like, hey, where do you know of a sushi place we could, maybe borrow, during an evening and shoot, over a weekend or something like that, over the week.
Right.
So I read the script and I'm like, well, I think it has a lot of potential.
Oh yeah.
I really love the idea. Now, what it came to, there was a lot of rewriting. We rewrote it for about a year. Me, Kern, Destin, and the other producer, Surin. And so it took us about a year to really get the script down solid. Lots of discussions and everything. But I basically, at first I told him, okay, I would only be involved if we made a couple of changes. One was, I said, okay, I have a potential location, but I don't want to blow the location on a 15K movie. Kind of been saving it for one of my own projects. And second, we need to, actually have, real cast. Now that doesn't mean that I was against the people that they had already in line.
Right.
The point was just, I want to bring
staying power.
I want to bring in more money, and I want people to, unless they are a big name with a long history of, and we know 100% what they'll bring, I want them to audition. So, and then so obviously things evolved from there. I ended up bringing in a good friend of mine and his company, his partners, to predominantly finance the film. We ended up shooting at my super secret special location, which was Banglam Chinese restaurant, which doesn't exist anymore. It was torn down.
Oh no.
Yeah. But our projects was one of the last. Sushi Girl was one of the last feature-length projects to be filmed there. And I had filmed there several years earlier, and was friends with the location manager. And so, yeah, I mean, they charged us 10% of the daily going rate. They're just like, hey, basically they just charged us for the paperwork.
Nice.
So, but that's when you don't ask for a lot of favors, and you end up giving more favors than getting, that when you do call them in, they tend to be really good. So
right.
Yeah. And then obviously it was a dream cast. I think Destin had really had Tony Todd in mind from the very beginning. A guy that Kern and I had worked with on a short project that I had produced and created. Andy McKenzie was just a dead ringer for one of their friends, but was a much more evolved actor that had a lot more experience and gravitas, and
brought a lot of character to the character.
We really wanted to bring him in, and so he was technically the first actor hired, while Destin was chasing Tony around, like stalkerish kind of, like dropping the script in his shopping cart at Trader Joe's or whatever.
You gotta work hard. Yeah.
Hey, yeah, and and then we had a friend that worked with Mark Hamill's agency, and so we were able to get the script to him. And originally he was like, well, this is a little much for me, not really my flavor. But his kids had read the script also, and they're like, hey, Dad, you keep bitching that you don't get really cool character pieces like Steve Buscemi. So if you don't do this movie, you can never complain about it at the dinner table again.
Right.
Write it again with a kind of a different perspective. And I mean, just yeah, I mean, it was just everyone. I mean, David Dasmalchian. There was actually a scene in which I was like, okay, this scene, this whole, I'm gonna clean your shitter before a gig montage was not gonna happen. I'm just like, that is a stupid dialogue. I don't want it in the movie. No one, no one could deliver. No one had we seen could deliver it at all.
With the right
Well,
gravitas.
I'm just like, no, just a distraction. It's going to be a waste of our money, and we're going to end up cutting it out. So, and then the question is, if that scene isn't in there, do we really even need that character at all? And then we, David Desmalchian reached out to us, and we hit it off immediately. He read for it, and I'm like, we're keeping it. Bam.
Kind of helps set the tone.
I approve this scene if David does it. And then it's like, yeah, it was So, and then there was a long search for Courtney Palm because, Courtney Palm's character, Sushi Girl, because, there's just, she's playing up against actors that
are so seasoned.
They're all seasoned. They've all done big movies. They've all worked in the business a long time. They've some of them were classically trained. So we needed someone, and obviously, but there was nudity involved, and so a lot of that scared a lot of actresses away, and so we got a lot of penthouse girls and Playboy girls and women that really didn't have a lot of experience actually acting, or I guess know how to really command the camera.
Right.
And
not everybody can do that.
Immediately, I mean, Courtney was just like, we all were like, wow. And then and then we're like, okay, so she we had them all perform a couple different scenes, and one was in a bikini, and then so we're like, wow, okay, we all knew just by looking at each other, we all were really keen on Courtney. And then so we're like, okay, well, what do you feel about nudity? And she basically takes her underwear off and threw it on Kern's face and goes, I'm fine. Like, all right, okay.
Well, I mean, the title is Sushi Girl, so yeah.
Yeah, well, and there obviously we had, I think we all kind of decided at one point that we really wanted Sushi Girl to be the only female in the entire movie. Obviously we do have a voice, Destin's wife, Rachel Fedorov does the voice in a scene, but the only female on camera is Courtney, and we did that
purposefully.
Very specific. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a hidden feminist movie in many ways. So but we don't want to smack people in the face and tell people what it's going to be. It's up for them to they watch the movie. It's a slow burn.
Oh yeah,
movie.
Great plot, lots of twists, things you're not expecting.
Yeah.
And then I'm not gonna lie, Mark Hamill, the second he walks in, you're just like, holy crap, you're in for a ride.
Well, and that's what's funny, because I would say about half the audience that we'd spoken to had no idea it was Mark until 20 minutes or a half hour in the movie, and they're like, what is they don't really, because we he had specifically gained some weight for the role. We had I had the crazy idea with our artist Manthos, the one who did Manthos Lapis did the posters. So I had this crazy idea to have him, basically have a modified Prince Valiant, and of course at first no one liked that idea, and so I'm desperately trying to tell my partners, and at the same time I'm like Facebooking with Manthos, who was at the time he was in Greece still. He wasn't here yet. So I'm messaging with Manthos and I'm saying, do this, and he's like, he's rushing doing illustrations to try and, you know, because we really needed to decide what it was going to be. And so we ended up getting it, and then finally everyone's like, oh, and then, you know, Kern had some ideas, and we all kind of slowly modified it just a little bit. I think Kern had, you know, was like, he was a big fan of, there was a James Bond character that had long hair, one of the bad guys, I forgot which Bond movie it was, but there was like this duo, these two guys,
And he had
that
just
were
had the
teammates,
floppy thin
and
hair,
one of them
yeah.
had the floppy thin hair, and so then, you know, once Kern arrived on that, then Kern was on my side, and then we, you know, we went from there. So,
Yeah,
and of
once
course,
you get Prince
then it was
Valiant out of
convincing
the
Mark.
mind, yeah.
Yeah, right. No, exactly. It was,
And then convincing
yeah.
Mark that it's like, yeah, you're gonna look a little douchey, but that's kind of the point.
Oh, the first couple of days, he wasn't comfortable at all with it, but you know, it grew on him, and I mean, it's just, and obviously his character, he's just such an, he was, I mean, I think people are now after Sushi Girl, and after seeing what he could do, you know, with the, you know, with the sequel films, but also, you know, right after Sushi Girl trailer came out, there was, you know, a bunch of our cast started getting hired for guest starring roles on TV shows. I mean, yeah, it was crazy. It was just like a rash of them. I mean, just like immediately, our trailer dropped, and then all of a sudden, oh, Mark's on this show, and Mark's on that show, and you know, I mean, it was, you know,
And that's so the way the industry works too. You know it, I know it.
absolutely.
It's because it's the back channel talking like, oh, now the trailer's dropped, so they got to show it, and it was just like, oh, I got to work with so and so. How much fun was that? Blah blah blah. Now people are talking. All of a sudden, it's like, oh crap, we didn't even think of that person.
Exactly. You know, and so I mean, we had talked about Mark being in it, but we all just thought, oh, that's silly. Mark's not going to do it. You know, there's no way Mark would do it. And then finally, Destin's assistant was just like, you know, he also a huge Star Wars fan, really pushed for it. And
it makes me look at his Star Wars roles in a whole new light, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, he's a truly gifted, besides being a gifted and talented actor, he's also just an amazing human being. I mean, he's, you know, and one of the things that I love, and Vincent Guistani just posted on Facebook, you know, how much he misses the Sushi Girl family, which it's really kind of funny, because that's very much what happened. I mean, you know, I mean, Noah Hathaway, we did a Skype interview with him while he was in Amsterdam. We were like, we don't, you know, I mean, we didn't know if he was still acting or if we were even connecting with the real Noah Hathaway at first. You know, and he's like, yeah, I'm the real thing. And so then we interviewed him, and like, I think it was like, what's it? Within 24 hours, he was on a plane, and stayed with Kern and Cern for a couple of days, and then we got him a hotel, and you know, and yeah, I mean, it was just,
when things get rolling, sometimes they just start rolling. Yeah.
no, I mean, well, we had lost an actor. There was an actor that really didn't fit with, and so when we were like, wow, and there were a bunch of names, but that were kind of more readily available here in LA, and we were just like, you know, wouldn't it be really cool? And this is where CERN was just like, you know, I love Never Ending Story. You know, I've been, you know, following this guy on Facebook that says he's the real Noah Hathaway, but he's in Amsterdam, and so he reached out, and it's just, and no regrets whatsoever. We got him a plane ticket immediately. We flew, you know, I'm just like, wow, you know, and so we were
and it just
like,
adds to the whole, like, you know me, and you nerd culture, like the whole nerd vibe. It's like,
yeah,
this doesn't have to be a nerdy movie, but to bring in like actors that you love from other nerdy things in your own project, like, how great does that feel?
Yeah, no, I mean, and it really became, for, I think for most of us, still, this is the funnest project any of us have ever worked on. We still communicate with each other all the time. I mean, we're planning another Sushi Girl reunion. We just had a Sushi Girl screening a few months ago, in which everyone that was in town showed up, and had some drinks, and had, like, so we see each other's babies and go to each other's weddings and stuff like that. So we're a bit, a bit of the extended family. So, and when someone doesn't call the other person enough, and someone, it's like literally, in most other films, no one cares. It's like, oh, that's normal. But if you don't show enough love to one of the Sushi Girl family members, what's going on?
Right, right, yeah. Not
It's
like
and I love
most
that. I
movies are,
love that.
and most movies are one and done. Few people can be Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill, who have worked that many decades together on
Yeah,
just even one project. So,
yeah,
but yeah, so now next you got a documentary coming up that you're
yeah. Well,
utilizing your
obviously,
Japanese
yep,
background that ties in with
yeah.
Sushi Girl. Yeah.
No, exactly. So, I'm obviously, uh, as we were rewriting and making changes to the script, uh, one of our friends, a guy by the name of Tommy, uh, knew and had worked with Sonny Chiba, and we're just like, oh my God, how, I'm a huge fan of Sonny Chiba. I lived in Japan for 4 years. I've studied, traditional Japanese martial arts for 20 years. So I was blown away, and with even the opportunity. And so we met him. We immediately clicked. We immediately started working on, on developing projects with Sunny on the side, separate to Sushi Girl. Obviously, they had to kind of be put on hold while we were focusing on Sushi Girl, but
That
and
doesn't mean you can't talk and sign NDAs.
right, exactly, and then I became is a U.S. manager. So eventually, so now I just his children are all actors and professionals with strong martial arts background in Japan. A lot of his um, students. He used to have a very prominent school called Jack, the Japan Action Club, and where he was a teacher, and he really uh, kind of recreated um, the whole.
Oh, there we go. You're back.
Yeah,
I got you.
he kind of recreated, and he updated and renovated the whole Japanese stunt acting process. He very much wanted a high professional uh, way of doing things, and was really inspired by American films, American stunts, and so made these massive changes. So, and I think right now there's no better time than to make a documentary about not only his life,
His
and I
legacy.
wanted to, yeah, but his legacy, and he's, what I love is that most of these legacy type films are done after the the legend has passed away, and I'm
Right.
like, oh, let's do it now while he's
Well, you
still
get to
alive,
appreciate him. Yeah.
where he can appreciate it, and he can be an active part in it. So yeah, and that obviously that segues perfectly into what kind of brought us to this meeting, which was the stunts, stunt awards in like BAFTA and the Oscars, and their
Golden
lack
Globes,
of
all of
them.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah, all of
yeah,
them. Not
and
just the Oscars, but all the awards need stunts.
yeah, and and obviously I'm not a stunt professional, so and I think you're going to be interviewing some stunt professionals and experts, so they would know better than me how exactly they would want to be recognized. Is it the stunt coordinator, or is it the, like SAG recognizes a stunt team, so they do an ensemble, a stunt ensemble.
Right.
I believe Avengers.
And
I think
there's
Avengers
ways
won
to
it this year.
exactly, and it's all about baby steps. That's what most of them are asking for, baby steps. Just give us one
Yeah.
off camera on the Saturday awards. Give us just one stunt category, and we could grow from there. Kind of
Right,
like
exactly.
sound.
But
Sound only had one category. Now it has multiple categories.
yeah, that's like VFX wasn't even wasn't even thought about for a while, and so
Exactly.
when
Yeah.
you think back about I mean even silent films, stunts were a huge part. I mean stagecoaches and
Buster Keaton.
physical gags, Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin. I got to work with Thomas, who is the great grandson of Charlie Chaplin in Lucky
Ooh,
Day.
cool. That's
And
awesome.
and his physical acting. I mean, you can see, that he also has a stunt background, and so yeah, I would definitely, I love to see that. Now, I do have another thing coming up pretty soon, so I don't want
Oh
to
yeah.
cut us too short, but
Right. Yeah. I'm on your time frame, brother. You know me. I'll talk an hour.
okay,
So.
all right,
But yeah, and it is important, whether it's TV or movies. And like you said, you're not a stunt professional, but you work with them, and you know how important it is to have a proper, good stunt team around you when you
well,
are
it's
doing
such an
these kinds of
important,
things.
yeah, it's such an important aspect of film. John Wick. I mean, that essentially it was, it was basically directed by by one of the top, by the creator of 8711, and it's all about the stunts. I mean, yes, I like the acting, and yes, the great music, but I mean, it's the
You're
what
going in for
draws
the
us
action.
in. Yeah, I mean, the same thing with the Fast and Furious franchise. I mean, there's a lot of movies, even, not just in the past, but right now that, just wouldn't be batteries going down too.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, then, yeah, but you're absolutely. Let's wrap this up for you then, since your battery's down on your phone here, real quick. I like to wrap up all of my interviews with these three questions. What's your favorite
Okay.
superhero?
Oh, I kind of have two or three, but let's just go with Silver Surfer for now. Yeah.
Okay, that's an unusual one. I don't get to hear that a lot. Who's your favorite villain? Because your heroes are only as good as bad as your villain is.
That has to be the Joker for many reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a long list of reasons for sure.
Yeah.
And who is your favorite? I mean, who's your real life hero? Who inspires you in life?
Well, I have several, but I mean, I would probably say my father is I mean, there's a lot we can talk about. Sonny Chiba is one, and there's a lot of my previous boss and mentor Samuel Hadida is another hero of mine, and I got to work with him for 12 years. But I would just say that yeah, that the first person to come to mind in that way would be my father. Yeah.
All right. Well, excellent. Follow my man Neal at Super Neal, and you can follow all his links in the comment section below. Look forward to talking to you in the future and finding out more about everything that's coming up, and definitely seeing the finished documentary.
Yes. Well, thank you very much, and hey, have a great time.
All right, brother. We'll see you somewhere down the road.
All right.
Okay, thank you for sticking around throughout this entire podcast. I am super excited to bring on my next guest. We've been trying to hook up for a couple of weeks now. We go way back. I am proud to introduce Ray Park. How you doing, Ray?
I'm good, man. How you doing, Casey? How's things?
Things are good. I'm excited to reformat the podcast. You and I go back about 8 or 9 years, just to tell the audience out there. We originally met at Chicago Wizard World, where I moderated your panel for you. And I had to, now let me finish the story before I throw it to you. I had to stall for 20 minutes, 500 people waiting to see Darth Maul at the Chicago Wizard World because, and here's why, fans, and here's why I love Ray so much, and I always support him and always talk nothing but positivity about him, because he refused to leave his booth until he signed for every child waiting in line that have been waiting since the doors opened to that convention that Saturday morning. I think it was a Saturday. And so yeah, happy to stall and look like an idiot. And trust me, I look like an idiot. People are like, who is this fat idiot up there? But like, you are so good with the fans, brother. Like, you are so out there. And like, let's talk about the fan art. You get sent so much cool Darth Maul fan art.
I've got tons, and you know what? Some people, like when I've been at shows, they say, "Hey, I'll take that for you if you don't want to take it back with you, and we can discreetly send it back to you if you want." I said, "No, I believe in karma. I take everything home with me. But I'll show you something here. But I've got everything over the last 15 years. I just got this, and it's made out of computer, like the mother chip.
Oh, that is sick.
You see it? Can you see it in that light? It's just,
yeah, there we go. That angle.
Yeah. A gentleman in Ireland. I've got his business details, and I meant to post something, but I keep everything. I've got stuff on my windows, some fan art. Look here, turn it around, look. All over my office. It's just not that I love myself.
No, it's the fans, and the fact that you're giving them that much respect back. A lot of celebrities don't do that.
Yeah, I'm a fan too. I grew up idolizing, and sorry, I'm trying to sort my camera out.
All good, brother. All good.
I'm a fan too. And I grew up from a hard-working background. My parents never had a lot of money at times, but they did the best they could. So I remember those times, and also, it's just within my nature. It's just the way I've been brought up. If I see people waiting, and I'm told by organizers, you got to go do this, you got to go and do this talk, and there's 20, 30 people waiting. I don't get everyone waiting for an hour, 2 hours. Sometimes with the photo ops, I'm gone for hours because you're signing and photo op, and then other people, they want to do private signings, and it's like 3 hours by the time I get back, or 2 hours, and I feel terrible. So I'll stay to the end. I've even said, we'll go back to the hotel, we'll go to the pool, we'll go to the bar, we'll finish this. No one's going home without anything,
Yeah.
I can't do that insurance for it. I'll pay for it, I want to make sure everyone, gets a great experience. Because if Bruce Lee was there, or Chuck Norris, or any of the guys that I idolized, I would wait all day.
And then that's one of the things I love and respect about you. And like, that was our first meeting. That was how you and I became friends. Like,
yeah.
I'll never drop respect for you because of that one moment.
Oh, thanks, man. You held it really well for me, man. Like, everyone had happy smiles. I'm trying to sort my bloody camera out. It's bloody tripod. I'm so used to taking videos of me doing action shots.
Which, your Instagram. Look, if y'all don't follow Ray Park on Instagram, go follow him on Instagram now. He's always posting like crazy workout videos, which is what I was going to get into next, man. Your workout routine is insane. Now, I know you're not a woman, so I'm going to ask, what's your age and how are you keeping that up?
Oh, that's a good question. There's a lot of vitamins out there these days that can help you with that kind of thing. No. Everyone thinks I'm always like, I used to use training, and only this last 6 months, maybe this last year, I've kind of changed my attitude, because life changes a lot when you get a little bit older and circumstances and stuff.
Don't I fucking know it?
Yeah, and so I think I'll always put training first as my one-to go. If I want to avoid responsibilities, like pay my, worried about a bill or this or that, I'll just hide away and train. And I just do that a lot. Yeah, it's just my way of just forgetting about everything. But I can only train when I'm happy and at peace. And that's why I tell people that I never hit a punch bag angry. I've never once imagined someone's face or Obi-Wan's face on a punch bag. I don't believe in that. I believe in the art. And for me, it's not about hitting and smacking. It's about art, combinations, and working your cardio. And so I'm a big fan of Rocky, that used to be my alarm clock, Bill Conti's fanfare, it's to this, it's my ringtone. It's one of those, it's that song that always gets me. Yeah, I'll go up and start shadow boxing and pretending that I'm Muhammad Ali and, Stallone, and Tyson, but it's just all for art. And I used to train like a madman. It used to be all I knew. I think it still is, but sometimes I know nothing, I just do, it's only until I start teaching. it's been a while since I had like classes and I had students and I had my own clubs, and I took boys to like the London Youth Games. I had a team. I was part of the Great Britain Wushu team.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've got like, I'm European champion twice, Britain's champion 4 times or something like that. World champion, international champion. I came 4th. This is my Commonwealth bronze when I was in Malaysia in 1993.
Awesome.
You know, just things I don't really see. I feel like boasting about it, you know. But
no. These are qualifications that got you to where you are. Like exactly, I didn't know you used to teach. Like, why are you still getting people asking you to teach? Yeah. So here's another thing as well. So I had my own club. So under my my teacher's umbrella. Like, so as part of UK Chingwu, I always knew I wanted to teach and get into movies. There was always this mystery about learning new techniques, like the butterfly twist I do. No one taught me that. No one knew how to. It was a new move back in the day. So anyone who did that I saw live do it was amazing. So my way of learning it was because I wanted to get into movies, and I heard about Jet Li. I was a big fan of Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee since I was a kid. Oh yeah.
But Jet Li changed it for me. When I saw Jet Li at 10 do his stuff, I was like, he's 10 years old. And he's better than any adult I've seen. And so I fell in love with Wushu, even though it was so hard to do, but I fell in love with it. And it's a lot of people would give up. I just was intrigued by this challenge. And so I made, everything was a big mystery, and it was all magic and secret learnings and secret teachings. I just sort of, from gymnastics, I'm not knocking it, there is, but there's, from learning gymnastics later on in life and learning how to coach it and how to break down techniques and condition your body, certain parts of your body for sport-specific exercises or techniques. And that really helped my Wushu training. And in a short period of time, I was excelling. By 16, I was representing Great Britain in the first World Wushu Championships, and I came 7th. And so I look at the competition, I was like, I was crap, look at me. It was like rubbish. You know, they must probably felt sorry for me and gave me a place. But I was the only European and the only guy from not Asia to place in a Wushu competition. I loved it. I wanted to live in China. I still do. I wanted to go to Hong Kong. You know, I wanted to, I wanted to just go to the Far East, but and I did. I went to Malaysia when I was 15. See, this is what happens when you have coffee in a Boba Fett club.
No, but I look, I get what you're saying about like watching your previous fighting techniques to how you are now. I can't even watch my interviews from 8 years ago. God, I was horrible.
Nah, shit. But I know what you mean though. Like now I tuck my t-shirts back in my jeans, so I don't want anyone to see my fat belly, you know. But back in the day, when I seen pictures of me, like conventions, I'm tucking it right in, and I look at pictures like just the other day. I was like, oh, look at me, no grey hair, my body's so soft, and no tattoos. And look, I just looked at a weight, and I got big. You know. Now it's like man boobs and saggy, you know, because I haven't conditioned in 6 months. I just had enough of training.
Harder to maintain at this age.
It is, because the goals, you know, my goal is I still have something to prove to myself, because I know what I'm like deep down. My wife knows exactly what I'm like, and my parents, and my brother and sister. And it's like, sometimes, like, if I have a focus and a goal, I will train to the earth to win, but for myself. And if I'm competitive, but I put it to the side. I don't need to prove myself because I know I can still do it. But then
the best competitors are always trying to compete with themselves, because
I mean myself.
Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, 2 of the GOATs, greatest of all times, always competing to be the best above everyone else, even better than they previously were.
Yeah. You know, you win a gold medal, World Championships. Yeah, great. Woo. As soon as you get it, you're not the best anymore. You're just the best for that time. At that moment, you got that mark to win. I'm not knocking anyone else, but for me, that's maybe my dad says. So I sort of go, and it's harder when you win, because you've got to excel even more. Because if you're like part of the top, and like I used to look at my peers, like, Yin Wing-Ching was the best Wushu guy for my time. And in 1993, I was in Malaysia, and a lot of guys would get nervous. A lot of guys wouldn't watch other guys compete. I did. I loved watching other people, because in that moment I get ideas and then I will use it. And so when I spoke to Ying Wen Ching, it was in Mandarin, so my friend helped me translate. My friend was going, yeah, go out and go, fast. And Ying Wen Ching went, no. And I understood what he was saying. He goes, no. Go out, go, slow, enjoy. And I went, right. And that was, you know, sound effects.
More fluid. Oh, yeah, I know about you and the sound effects.
Sometimes the dialogue's not here, but the noises are.
Okay, for those of you watching, if you have not gone through all my videos, the first time we met, he's literally talking about, while I'm moderating the panel for him, about doing the sound effects as Snake Eyes in the first G.I. Joe movie. And it's absolutely hilarious. Go through my videos and watch it.
I remember that.
Yeah, and it was hilarious. That was one of my favorite, like, all-time moments of moderating for any celebrities over the last 8 years. Like, that cracks me up still.
Because I remember, I think I talked to you. I think you were the only one I really talked about because I remembered it. And to get asked to come in, even though Snake Eyes doesn't speak, and he took an oath of silence, I was still asked to go in and do ADR for the sound effects. I've never been asked to go in and do ADR for any of my sound effects.
That is weird.
Unless I had dialogue. So it was really special for me. And it was funny because it felt fake. Because unless you're in it, like, I watch my videos now, I don't remember making noises and grunts when I competed. It was quiet, you know, silence and focus. Now it just is just part of me. It's just part of, it's
that Bruce Lee thing.
Yeah, you're taught like to, you know, breathe and, so I never really did it unless I was asked to, but now it's just part of the body just going, it's just a release of expression, you know?
Yeah, and it probably puts you more in the moment. But it also sounds, I like what you said, though, about never punching a bag during training in an angry way. You always do it happy. So I do like to talk about mental health. That sounds like that helps a lot with your mental health. What else do you do for your mental health?
A lot. I mean, it's great that we're talking about it a lot more these days, you know, because when I was younger, if you even said mental health, it was like a negative word to say, you know?
Straight to the mental house.
Yeah, if I was going, hey, I just got to sort my mental health out, people think, oh, something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. But it's not. We're all different. We all have mental health. We all got to look after our mental health. I've realized as you get older, you know, drinking a lot of alcohol doesn't help your mental health. And so any of you out there, you know,
we just had that conversation about me off camera, and I quit drinking a few summers ago, and the best decision I've made since quitting smoking cigarettes.
Wow. Yeah, you know, I begged my parents for years as a kid not to smoke. I hated it. And it's one thing I've never tried, never done, never want to. If I met a girl when I was younger and I thought, oh, she's going to be my wife and she smoked, you know? So it was just the way I was as a teenager. But I never started having a drink until I was like 30, 34 when I moved to LA. You know, so it was more of a sociable thing, you know, just to hang out. When I went to conventions.
That's LA for you.
No, I'm not blaming LA. I'm Scottish.
Yeah, it's in our blood anyway.
Aye, whiskey. No offense to all you Scots out there. You know, there's a lot of Scottish people who don't drink. But it was something I chose to do because I was like, you know, going to Dragon Con. I don't want to make this an issue about drinking, but I'm just going to tell you a story about why I thought. I used to sit in my room at convention. I don't want to get downstairs because, you know, but it's boring. It's so boring. But in the beginning, when I was younger, it was I had people around me that made a big deal about things, and I like just to blend in and just, you know, have fun with everyone and just chill. So it was like a nice way of just hanging out with everyone. And then it gets tired, and so I said I don't drink at shows anymore, and I go out because I like to sort of be there, be present for everyone that's turning up, and I want to train, you know, and have a good time and enjoy myself. So yeah, I had some fun times, but yeah, it doesn't help your training.
Right, and that's also a part of your mental health, your mind, body, spirit. It all connects, and that's major teachings in pretty much any martial arts.
Yeah, well, you know, when you talk, because I've sort of the ADHD. My wife swears I might have ADHD, but I don't know. I haven't been diagnosed yet. But
okay, so as someone with ADHD, let me tell you, she's right.
Yeah.
You got it. I watch your late night workouts and some of your posts, and I'm like, that motherfucker's like me. He's got ADHD.
So, you know, it's funny because I asked my mum and dad this when I was younger, and they go, Mum goes, "No, son, you were just happy and hyper all the time. You were just happy." You know, and I was watching this a documentary about SAS and Special Forces, and he goes, most of us in the Special Forces, we probably get diagnosed with ADHD or something these days, but we were just sort of, you know, happy-go-lucky boys.
Special Forces, happy-go-lucky boys. I like
trying to change the light in here.
That's such a British thing to say, that we were just happy-go-lucky boys out there in Special Forces.
I wanted to be in Special Forces, but then I got really scared. Yeah, I'm trying to sort of light out here. It fell over. Here we go.
There we go. Yeah, the sun went down.
I know. Look, I've got shiny head again.
Oh, that's okay. Well, welcome to the club. I'm in here sweating from my lights. That's for sure.
There you go. Sorry about that.
No. It's all good. The people are just happy that you're on the podcast. They don't care what you're doing with your camera.
Well, you know what I do for my mental health is, being with my kids, training helps me. I was under a spotlight there. But I think there's more I can do, and there's more a lot of people can do, you know, and it's not to be afraid to go and, you know, get guidance and help. Not help, but guidance, and maybe help, you know?
Or even just a good friend that doesn't judge you, that you can talk to.
Yeah, talking's great, you know?
Yeah.
It's always good just to get it off and not feel like you're being judged as well. And it could be anything. It could be finances. It could be your health. It could be something you're not aware of as well that's just bothering you subliminally, that you're picking up on every day. And then, you know, and then one day you'll figure it out. You're like, oh, yeah, that's why, you know? So.
Yeah, no, exactly. And part of the talking is what helps, you know, bring it out and realize it. And that's, you know, so what the main subject of this podcast that I've been talking about with the 3 previous guests before you, though, has been stunts. Stunt actors, stunt directors, stunt coordinators, the entire stunt team, and why the hell there's no awards at the Oscars for stunts, period. Like, so, I mean, everything you've done is stunts heavy. You're a stunt actor. So let's talk about the importance of stunt safety, you know, the Oscars kind of screwing over stunt people, and how important it is. You know, you guys are just as important as music and a score to a movie or television show. This, I mean, unless you're, you know, a special victims unit and you're just a crime drama and never have any kind of action, you know, almost everything has action these days. So, you know, you've been doing stunts for so long, you're so great at it, and that's why you condition so hard. But like, how important is it to have a good stunt team for safety and for any production?
I think it's very important, really, really important. And, you know, I'll tell you a story, and can I give you my big ADHD story? All right, so I wanted to be a stuntman, actor. The full guy, you know, Lee Majors, the Bionic Man.
Oh yeah, great show.
I wanted to do it all, but then in the business, it's either you're stunts or you're an actor. Pick one. You can't, you know, like, you're a stuntman, you're not an actor. You know, you like, noses were turned up. That's the impression I got.
Yeah.
But it's changed a lot because a lot of great directors, you know, and recently I've come from stunt martial art backgrounds. We're all guys that are passionate about movies, watching movies, action movies, want to do the things that we see our idols do. So we practice martial arts. Then we find out, oh, wait a minute, we can get into movies. I didn't know. Then you get into movies, and it's through martial arts because it's always through your passion. So my passion was martial arts and the art side of it and the showmanship, because wushu is very showy. It's not combat martial art. You don't go and learn how to defend yourself. It's an art. You're expressing yourself. And I don't mind if someone calls me a ballet dancer or anything like that, because I love it. I like pointing my toes and stuff like that, you know, messing around. And so that's helped me get to where I'm at. And a lot of the great ideas, the great sequences for characters come from stunts. You know, like on Phantom Menace, Andreas Petrides, who's assistant stunt coordinator, and Nick Gillard, the stunt coordinator. You know, Nick brought me on, and Rick McCallum and George Lucas, you know, they had faith in this 22-year-old kid. I wasn't cocky, I was just confident, but I wasn't arrogant, and I was humble about it, but it was something I couldn't believe was happening, and it was my dream. But without having that support and just having talks with the guys who are just as creative or more so, you get ideas and they help your character out. And so I've been on shows with stunts, you know, the guys that are, they're working behind the camera, but they're just as good as better than what you can do, and give me little tips. And as to, it's always good to see something from the outside. If I was a fighter and I was looking at myself outside the octagon, you could see where you could go right and where you're going wrong. But when you're in it, you can't see it. It's easy for someone to sit and go, oh, you should have done that, you should have done this, because you can see it. So it's always good to have
Monday morning quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's always good to have a sideline, the guy on the side watching your back, because you'll be doing something. You might think it looks good, but it looks rubbish for camera. And so stunts is very important. A lot of the great action sequences, tremendous action sequences, a lot of money's been spent on making it, come from stunts, the action side. And I think Arnold is a big supporter of the stunts in the Oscars as well.
Yeah, well, heck yeah, he is. I mean, that's how he got his start too. Let's talk about episode 1 though. Like, what was that like working on that? Like you said, it was your dream. Like, holy crap, you're 22 and you're about to be in the long-awaited Star Wars movie. Like, you kids these days have no idea how long we had to wait between episode 4 and episode 5 and episode 6. We didn't think there was going to be anything after the original 3. So when they announced Phantom Menace episode 1, like, in the 90s, like, as a 20-year-old myself, like, I was dying. And, like, before you go into your little story on what it was like working on that, I don't mind telling you, when I went and saw that in the theater with my friends, I was on 2 hits of acid. And
oh, really?
The movie, it was the best movie I've ever seen in my entire life.
I bet it was taking acid. I've never done that.
Yeah, let me tell you what, it's not been the same since.
They do say that kind of stuff messes your brain up.
Yeah, they do say that, don't they?
Wow. So I mean,
but yeah. Give the fans an episode 1 story. What was it like on set?
Well, you know, you would think saying, "Oh, it's 20 years for this and that." Da, 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 da. Well, I was on Mortal Kombat just before that, and Mortal Kombat was a big wow. You know, I can't believe I'm on this. Robin Shue, and I was part of Robin Shue's stunt team, and if it wasn't for Mortal Kombat, I don't think George would have seen me. If I wasn't on that movie, I may have not been Darth Maul. I don't know. So it was my dream. I wanted to, you know, coach and have the best schools ever, but also be in movies as well. And so I was lucky to be on Mortal Kombat and I learned new experiences that helped when I was on Phantom Menace, like air rams and things. 22, man, I was like, woo, this is great. Hey, woo, I'm flying, you know, and I was doing that in the gym anyway.
But you still got to learn what it's set life. Being on set's different.
It is different. So you could be really good at martial arts and you could be really good at gymnastics, but it's different when you got that skill and ability, that the skill that you've trained comes into play to keep you spatial aware and use your body. But when you've got a harness on and wires, you've got to work with a team. You've got to be, you know, you've got time, it all changes, you know, but if you're quick on your toes, you'll pick it up quick. But Phantom Menace was just, I still every day would think, I can't believe this is happening to me. I'm going along with it. This is good. I can't wait to, like, I think I had 3 months of rehearsal before I was on set. I think it was June 22nd, first shot of the movie. And it was Ian McDermott and myself. And it's where Darth Maul goes, Tatooine sparsely populated. The trace was correct. Fly him quickly, my master. But my way of saying it was, if the trace was correct, we'll fly him quickly, my master. Ah! Yeah, because I was young. You know, I was trying to have a joke there, my cocky voice and, you know, cockney. So that was the first shot of the movie. And I remember being excited and nervous. And I said to Ian, so is George going to come up and tell me if I've done it wrong? Because I always thought I did something wrong. And he goes, and George was just happy. And he goes, and he said to me, one thing I know about George, if he's happy, he'll just let you keep on doing it. And so that gave me confidence. It boosted, because, you know, that was my first acting job. I never went to acting school or anything. What my experience was from watching movies and stories and documentaries and watching how people were on Mortal Kombat. Only 2 movies. So the physical side I was really confident about. And I was confident about the acting side. And before I got the job, when I went for my first meeting with Nick Gillard, which lasted about 2 hours, I went into Robin Gouland's office for a screen test. So I thought, this is a great meet and greet. This is pretty good. I'm meeting the producer, the director, and the sound department, and the art department.
Well, yeah, for those out there who don't know the industry, a screen test is fast forwarding it.
Yeah, so I was like, not screen test, an audition, not screen test. Go in and
gotcha.
Sorry,
okay.
my mistake. Sorry. Sorry, beg your pardon.
I got way excited for you.
Yeah, so that was, screen tests can last and last and last. You can have many screen tests before you get the job. This is a big thing. But I knew remember, this is my second movie. I've done little commercials, bits here and there. But so this was like sitting for hours just talking to Nick. And so I never got my hopes up. Something I've always learned since I was a kid, my parents and competing. Unless my dad always said to me, unless you are in the ring and you knock the guy out, that's the only time you really know you won. Because when it comes to competing, I know it's very harsh, because my dad wanted me to be a fighter and a boxer and all of that.
Yeah, but it's a point system.
Yeah, and back then it was all attack. And I used to have these guys jumping around me and combing my hair, and I'm like, what are you doing? I never understood the point system, because they look like they touch you, but they never touched me, because my teacher was from a traditional background. It's what one hit, and that's a proper hit. I didn't join martial arts to learn to fight or to fight. I got into it because I wanted to be like Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee. I wanted to have that fantasy kind of. I loved the whole spiritualism about it, and the whole everything about the martial arts. I knew more about Buddhist and stuff when I was younger than anything else. Just growing up with it, and so I was really captivated by it as a kid. But I didn't walk in to go, right, teach me how to fight. I need to,
You know what? Quick story and segue. That's the exact same thing that Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa, Shang Tsung, on the movie, your first movie, he told me the exact same thing, that the reason he got into martial arts was to learn the art of healing. And when his master told him he had to master the art of killing before he could learn the healing, he quit martial arts. So it amazes me that you both got into it for kind of the same kind of reasons.
Yeah, and I had I had a wushu coach who also comes from a traditional five ancestors style, which is very old, death points and stuff, yeah? And sometimes, and I wish I'd paid attention more when at the end of the team wushu sessions, we used to have all Saturday or all Sunday, all day. And at the end, we'd do some traditional, but it wasn't flashy enough for me. I wasn't jumping around in the air and doing flips. It was standing in the ground, and it was proper martial arts. And I remember one day, he goes, Raymond, I think he wanted to show me, because I was like, woo, 16, yeah, come on, let's jump, I want to jump. And then,
that's an ADHD, brother.
Yeah. And I tell you, that's without energy drinks, And so I haven't had an energy drink today, or maybe a coffee, but that's about it, So I punched, he said, just punch at me. And he just went tap, tap. He just went tap, tap. And he looked down at my arm, and my elbow here, my forearm swelled. It was a button. And I pooed my pants. I've never seen it right in here. And he hit a pressure point. And he taught me a few pressure points where you can just touch someone and make them drop. You don't hurt them. So my wife and I used to play around, because when we first started dating, I used to make it out like it, and I was like, oh my God, But it's just little tricks I was teaching how I used to manipulate the body parts, a little nerve. But my teacher was he knew all those pressure points. And I knew then I didn't want to learn them. When he showed me that, I didn't want to learn something that I just learned in a day or two over sessions, and then it can be abused by accident because you just play around. So I didn't want to learn any of that stuff, and I never do.
That makes sense. Yeah.
There's no reason for me to learn it, and so, but I respect it, and I've seen it happen, and
personally, yeah, to yourself.
Yeah. I'm all for, I think it's so easy to punch and kick, and believe me, the martial arts stuff you learn doesn't really work in a real fight. Not for me, it doesn't. So the best thing to do is not get into a fight, run as fast as you can, scream, or call 911.
I've talked my way out of more fights than I've been in, that's for sure, yeah.
I'm tell you, talking is a great, I say tool, gift. I wasn't a good talker because it was like, someone says your mum, your tramp, or this, your sister, you get all the adrenaline goes. So the best thing for me to do is just walk away.
Yeah, and that's good advice, because you gotta once again, let's go back to mental health. You got to protect yourself, not just physically, but mentally. And sometimes even just a petty argument is doing you more harm.
My wife always says, you always feel terrible, Ray, afterwards. You always feel sorry for the other guy. And I do. Like, that's why I never like going and doing the fighting competitions. They were, you know, because I was taught for a young kid, you kind of got a different kind of sense of power. I remember my dad, and I won't tell you a story because it sounds like I'm boasting, but my dad was a tough guy. He was very tough, yeah, because he had to be tough.
Well, we grew up in that age where a dad's job, or at least they thought, was to toughen up the man, the boy, and make a man out of you. So
yeah,
it's a different generation that's being raised now. They didn't get their ass kicked on a regular basis like we did.
Oh yeah, and so I raised my son differently. And there is essence of my dad because there's greatness there. But my thing was, people said, "What you teach your kids martial arts?" I said, "No," because it's for me. It's my hobby, and I don't want them feeling that they have to do it because I do. Because all of my teachers, all of the masters I've met, their kids hate it because they were told to do it. So when you meet your master's son, you go, "Oh, he's going to be awesome." He's like, no, I'm not into martial arts. What?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And that taught me a lesson. It's for me only, unless they want to learn. I see my friends, the kids are wicked, and they must have done it right. The the kids wanted to do it, and they've got. I think it's different when you have a school, and their dads at school teaching every day other kids. They want to join in as well, and so I don't have to. I do things from at home, and my kids will come out. And we'll join. I've got videos of me teaching my son his first back handspring and my daughter handspring. But I was in that zone where it was all about me at the time. Like, I got to get on this movie. G.I. Joe, I got to train. I had a knee injury. It's me, I'm in pain. I got to train. And I regret those times because my kids it wasn't about, they were too young to know that daddy's flipping around being cool. That's what people think. But I was scared of getting older. I'll never be able to show them the stuff that I used to do when I was younger. But I always said I'm still going to do a butterfly twist when I'm 80 years old, even with a hip implant. I'm still down. And so it's the mind. And if you train yourself, don't abuse yourself, but you love what you do. Like people think I've got this energy and I'm jumping around at 4 hours at 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I've done that before in my house. But what I'm showing you is what I did earlier, but it's only I'm posting at midnight. But on solo, I was training all night. The producer said, "Ray, you got to get better." You know, because I was training out there all night because I couldn't do cardio because of my hip. I couldn't run. So I had to burn out doing muscle stuff, you know? So now since my hip replacement, I'm loving my body. So even though it's not like back in the day, I would never have posted me just doing a half sort of kick, jumping up. For me right now, it's a big deal. For 4 or 5 years, I was depressed, in pain. That's why I started doing this. And it was depressing, and it affects lifestyle. It affects your family. You know, when your kids stop inviting you to Disney, then you know there's a problem because daddy's in pain, you know, and you're sitting there crying. Yeah. So, but I didn't want to get the surgery because I was scared. And so I postponed it for 2 years, and then, and it was really scary. And I keep hearing these stories like, you'll feel better for it when you get done. But once you've had it done, and a big bit of bone taken away, chopped, opened up, sawed into, drilled into, hammered in, right? You're like, there's no going back on that.
It's intense surgery.
Yeah, my surgeon's awesome. You know what the thing I said to him? I said, did I say anything weird? Because I was signed for solo.
Right, when you come out.
Yeah, and when you come out, you start going, because the first surgery I was coming out saying, I'm Darth Maul, yeah, you know? It's a secret, you know? And I go, what? I said that? I never say that kind of thing.
That's hilarious.
And I don't remember it. So I was embarrassed. You know, I was young. So my first knee little meniscus tear, because I did it under gymnastics insurance. I was still young. I was like 20. It happened just because I was wearing Timberland boots and I was stretching and it popped out. And so, because they're heavy, you know? Yeah. And so I was embarrassed about that. And because I had another secret solo, I just filming solo. I didn't want to start going, solo, you know?
Dude, I crapped my pants when I saw. How excited were you to get the call for solo?
Well, I trained my backside off because I remember saying to my kids, because I was always hoping for it to come back. I was signed for 3 movies for G.I. Joe, but I always knew something big was going to happen again. I had a feeling something was going to happen. And I said to them, I said, you'll see a change in me. You know, Daddy's training that, But when you see it, I wanted them to see the zone, like competition person, focus, but still happy, but just serious. And I did. As soon as I got that call from Lynn Hale, we were in Guatemala for a convention, and we got there earlier because I wanted to do shows over the summer that I could take my kids to and go to fantastic places and sightsee. Because I'm so lucky to be able to travel and see these wonderful places, even within the US. And sometimes at the weekend, you're just at the convention hall. But every celebration, I've never seen it. I'm always at the table, which is great because that's why I'm there. But I wanted to get there early and show because I started traveling very young, and it really changed me as a person. And so I wanted my kids to see that, and not to be spoiled, but I'm happiest when I have my family with me. I hate being in a hotel room by myself. Doesn't mean I just want my kids in the room with me. Family, that's the best time. And so I had a call, but I had this like a non-contract phone. It was used as my work phone. And then I had my personal phone. And Lynn was contacting me. And I thought, oh no, maybe they've heard I'm in Guatemala. Maybe something's going on. I always thought I did something wrong. And I thought, oh no, what about it? It's a show, not. So my wife said, you better call her back. It might be important. I said, no, I'll wait. We're going to dinner. We've got dinner plans, professional. They're waiting for us in the lobby. You know, I'm a guest. I have to go downstairs because you better call. It might be important.
I love
so I emailed Lynn and said, look, we're just going for dinner. I'm really sorry. My phone doesn't work here, but here's my personal number. Do you mind? And, you know, I wasn't thinking it was going to be the best news ever. And then she goes, yeah, sure. Call me when you get back. So I called her. And then when I found out, I was like, what? She said, great. So, and I can hear in her voice, it's like, please.
You know, that happy pause. I got good news to tell you.
Yeah, so I went like this. She goes, Ray, you can't tell anyone. I turned, my wife is looking at me, and I'm like, can I tell my wife though? Can I tell my wife? She went, no. So I looked at Lisa. She goes, so when I said goodbye to Lynn, I said, remember that time when, when we first started dating and she's like, because I didn't want to speak it out loud. The Star Wars gods would hear me say, I'm coming back as Maul. And jinx myself.
Alexa's listening into your conversation, and Alexa's going to call George Lucas.
You never know. The kids, I'm a Sith, So I didn't want to jinx anything by even whispering, hey, I'm going to come back.
I'm with you. You did the right thing.
Yeah, because if you said something like this out of joy, I almost told Daniel Logan once. We were training together, and we were doing our videos because I had a big secret already. I've got a really bad hip, and I need it replaced. So I'm going to train my backside off. And then one day I said, you know that stuff I was doing? I was in pain. Because even Daniel saw it, I collapsed. But we were doing crazy stuff, and I was adapting. That's where the video started off. And then I got solo. So it was even more so. And Sam, where he, voices more, he goes, you're funny, Ray, because you're hiding in plain sight. No one knows. But you're doing all this lightsaber stuff. And no one knows. I said, no, it's funny. And I wasn't playing with the fans. It was just, I was doing it anyway. And then I couldn't tell my kids, my parents. I wanted to tell Daniel we were training. I was feeling really good. My endorphins were up. The sun was out. Feeling good. And I went to the bathroom. I came back out of the house. I walked out. I went, hey, Daniel, can you keep a secret? And it's because of his the way he responded to me, I changed my mind. His face got serious and he looked worried. And he went, yeah.
I don't want to keep this secret.
Yes, exactly. And it bothered me because he wasn't like, yeah, well, what's up, Ray? It was like, yeah.
Well, he gets NDAs in the industry, so he knows, yeah.
Yeah, so I couldn't even tell my best friend, because I wanted to share good news. I wanted to share it with him, Boba Fett, because I wanted to say, mate, it's possible to train really hard, show everyone we're doing it, and you'll come back as Boba Fett. And that's why I wanted to tell him.
Which would have been awesome.
Yeah, I wanted to tell him, because I remember years ago, I had these ideas, and I said, I'll help you train. I want to help you train. Don't tell anyone I'm training you. I don't want anything. I just want you to be great. And so I didn't tell him. I just made up some funny thing. And I'm glad I didn't tell him, because if you just jinxed yourself and it didn't happen, for years you'd be thinking, is it because I said that one time to someone I'm going to do it?
Okay, so I don't know if you remember this. So let's go back to how we started this podcast with how we met, because you do get extremely excited. Now,
Yeah, I'm talking a lot. You see that?
yeah. If any of you are going back through the old videos now on my YouTube channel here, go find the Ray Park panel that I'm talking about at Chicago Wizard World, and you will see there's a cut in there of all of a sudden a missing section. Do you remember why, Ray?
The cut in there.
And I filmed the panel I moderated for you, but I had to cut a section out of it.
Oh,
At your request. Do you remember why?
Oh, I had a secret, didn't I?
Yes, because, okay, so in the middle of the panel, you were so excited about the announcement of G.I. Joe 2.
That's right, yeah.
That you literally pulled out your phone in front of all those people and showed me the new suit.
That's right, I remember, yes.
And then you had to hunt me down on the con floor and beg me to cut that part out of the panel, which obviously I did, no problem. But it was just, you loved your job. You loved the entertainment, and you're just so excited you couldn't help yourself.
You know what? Because I really liked straight away, I liked you right away. You know, I was late, and just the way you greeted me on stage, your eyes, your personality, you were just nice. I felt like there was a connection there, and we joked. The banter was really nice, and you're very smart, and so you kind of like picked me up, and we kind of went to and fro. So I got really excited, and I wanted to share something. I forgot myself for a moment, you know. And
I was honored. I was honored. I knew what happened in the moment, and it was just like, and as soon as you told me, it was just like, oh yeah, NDAs, yeah, crap, yeah. I don't want you losing that job.
Yeah, and it's seriously, you know, like the NDAs as well. And I've got pictures of me when I went first to do makeup tests for Solo and everything. I went and said, can I go to the bathroom, please? You know, I'm sitting in with a head cast on, and I've been there all day. I was happy to do it. I've always said, if they ever ask me back for Star Wars, I'll do it for free, as long as my mortgage is paid and food and water. And, you know, as a joke, you know, and the thing is, I would do it for free.
Joke, people, that's a joke. He's still for hire for other movies and TV, but pay him anyway.
Yeah, so I still have a family to provide. I'm not that good looking, so I can't model and get an easy job. I've got to use skills and hard work. Calluses on his hands.
Right. And convention money only goes so far. You're an actor. Your job is to be out there being in movies and TV and acting. People don't understand that, like, this con life and the conventions they go to get your autograph and meet you and talk to you and get the private photos, like, that's secondary. That's supposed to be secondary income for most actors and people. Well, and that's the other thing they don't understand is, like, that you were talking about. You're spending all weekend at the convention in all these different parts of the world and different cities that you rarely get to explore. I went to New York 3 times. It wasn't until my 3rd trip that I finally went and saw one of the biggest parks in the country, Central Park. Like, holy crap, that's amazing. Why did I wait 3 times? Because I was in a convention the entire time. Flew in, flew out. And so I decided I had to make that kind of personal time.
You know, a lot of people who live in London haven't seen the sites who live in London. You know, and it's amazing, like, I think it's the same all over the world. But coming from Glasgow, Scotland at 8 years old, London was a very different place to me as a kid. And on one of my posts last night, I started going into a long waffling story about skates and this. But I started to remember things of, you know, even skating last night. I was like, I remember when we were younger. But it's just weird how wushu really helped me throughout everything. Wushu, you put your mind to it, you can do anything. You go, oh, that doesn't feel right. And it is. If you know your body, you know how it works, you can tune up a little bit and learn new skills. But conventions is great. I choose to do it. I want to do it. I want to be there for fans. If you don't look after yourself and you don't keep focused with your sleep, and if it's a 3-hour difference, like, so if I'm not working, sometimes I go to bed at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. I've noticed, you know, I'm here, I'm on my own. And so I'm creative early hours in the morning. That's when my mind's at peace. That's when I want to train. You know, it's hot. It was hot as hell today. When I first came out here, I went into an action post. When I first came out to LA, I'd want to be in the sun training. Now, I've got to go now. I've got to get tan. I've got to burn. Now I'm like, no, forget that. I want to train in the nighttime. Because then I can get my lightsaber out and do things.
Right.
And it's peaceful. And it's better at night, but it's late. And so just because I don't go to bed at 10 o'clock doesn't mean I'm up doing something no good. I'm training and doing other stuff. And, you know, I might not get up at 6 in the morning. Sometimes I do.
But at the same time, that allows you more family time that you love. And
exactly.
So that way you get a train at night once the kids have gone to bed.
Yeah, exactly. I've been able to see my kids grow up because It's been good traveling the world, doing conventions and going out weekends. Not being on a movie set on location, but I'm still providing, and then I can see my kids grow up. That means more. We never wanted a nanny. We never wanted someone else looking after our kids. We wanted kids. We're going to look after our kids. And so I know we touched about the dads and stuff. My dad was tough and that. But my son, when at competitions, I don't go, you better go out there and win. Remember, you're the best. I don't do that. I just go, mate, you know what you do. Go out, enjoy it, have fun, smile, and just enjoy it. So I had a little talk with him a couple of weeks ago, and I said, I always say that to you, but I always want, I'm proud of you, and I'm happy when you win, but I'm happy if you don't, because you're still awesome to me. You're doing amazing things. You're going out there doing big boy stuff, young man, more than I was doing. I'm just happy watching you. Never think I don't want you to win. I want you to win because if you want to win, then I want you to win. It's just, that's how I am, but I'm still very supportive.
It's positive reinforcement.
Yeah, like my wife would be like, he'll be like, I'm tired, because he has he's the same. And so he's tired, and he's been at school all day. I don't want to get a gym. And I'm like, that's all right, mate. You stay home, we'll hang out, we'll watch TV, play on the computer. My wife said, no, he's got to go. She doesn't talk like that, but she's like, got to go. And I'm like, hey, come on, look at him, he's been working all week, let's just chill out. You would think I'd be saying, he's got to go, he's got a name to live up to,
But it's the other way around, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, let him chill, man, let him be a kid.
And being a kid is important, and that's it, because that's the same thing like what you're talking about is the kids picking their own passions, letting them find their own ways, their own lanes. Like I completely relate to that. My dad was the star athlete of everything he ever tried to do. He was idolized by all of our relatives. So the fact that his only son is average at best at every sport I've ever attempted is basically a miserable failure. And the fact that they couldn't understand that my passion was music and that all I ever wanted to do to music, they didn't understand that. Of course, I gave that up, and now I'm doing podcasts.
Yeah, but the music's a passion still in you, though.
Yeah, well, entertainment. I love to entertain.
Yeah,
I want to change, and that's one of the things I loved about working in the restaurant industry for 20 years, man. Like a good meal can change someone's perspective on their entire day, week, month, or year, and to have that effect on people. Entertainment and music has always done the same thing for me on my darkest times. So for me, it's like I want to give back. I want to give back to the same society of entertainers that have helped me throughout my entire lifetime. Because there's nothing like a good song to cheer you up, or like a sad song when you're extra sad, just to be in the moment.
Yeah, I totally relate to that. Kind of set me up. You kind of hypnotized me to tell you personal stuff. But music, sometimes I listen to music when I'm happy. Like there's certain music I'll mix because that's part of a life. That's part of a nostalgic time. I
didn't even know you were your post the other night. That was the first time I've ever seen you DJing and spinning, and I didn't know you did that.
Yeah, well, I'm starting to teach myself how to scratch. One thing I know is not to drink beer and mix, because I used to think all DJs were drinking and doing stuff. And no, you got to be focused like a Shaolin monk and listen with clear ears. And so, because it distorts when you're inebriated in any way, so.
That's because, and most people don't understand that music is math. It's all technique and math.
Yeah, and you know what? It's more about. I feel it. I feel the music. Yeah, my dad played the accordion, and him and his brother all magic fingers. Tried to teach me. I was good with one side, but I couldn't do the little button things on the other side. But my dad taught me how to listen by ear, so on a keyboard and stuff. But I don't think I was smart enough or put the time in to study it. But it's part of me now, even with wushu. When I do things with wushu, I can maybe pretty much put any song to whatever I'm doing, whatever I'm listening to, influences my moves. Absolutely. And that's why I might come up with some random dance. Some of the stuff I do, I've never danced like that before. And I don't go to the nightclub and do things like that. You don't do that when you go boogie, boogie, woogie with your wife.
Okay, first of all, because of your post last night, I want to go to a club on skates with a lightsaber now.
I want to do that now. I've never been to, that was the first time ever. I was going to post this other video. Right, so I killed myself last, because I haven't been training much in the last 6 months. Everyone thinks I'm training really hard. When I do train, I do it. But I've been doing different kind of creative things that it will help my training. Different things, you know, mixing and doing other things, you know, on the drums, on my bongos, you know. But last night I did it purely. Some of my videos, someone will like something, or I'll get, woo, this good, woo, woo, and I'm on Instagram for 2 hours. I'm like, what am I doing? My thumbs are so sore, my eyes are hurting. I've got to respond. But it kind of like motivates me to do something else. And all this silly stuff, if I can make you laugh your ass off at me, then that's great, because I feel like I've changed as a dad, and now I don't care what people think. I wear one shoe one color, one shoe the other color. I don't care if I'm bonkers. It's just how I feel. So last night I had the whole house myself. I stacked it twice, but it wasn't a big stack. And I realized my wheels were on fast because I was racing my buddy, because he's a hockey player. So I put them on super fast. So I'm on the wooden floors and I'm like this everywhere. So I tightened them. I put my stunt pads on. This is my hip replacement. I don't, you know, got to be careful. This is my tools. But I was confident I could do it. But last night I watched it and I was getting buzzed. But I watched it today and I'm like, I'm going to do better. So when we were communicating earlier, all I could think about was, I'm going to go out the back, take the mats off. I'm going to practice the training. I'm going to get a weight vest on, get on the skates. I'm going to move. I'm going to do like training. And later on, I'm going to do a video and I'm going to do a butterfly in the skates. I'm going to blow everyone's minds, you know? And so I saw myself dancing last night on the skates. I want to go to roller disco. I want to do that. We should do that at a convention. I'd love to do it. I've never done that.
Yeah, that would be so much fun. Like all of my girlfriends in junior high, I picked up at a roller skating ring.
Oh, really?
Oh, all of them.
That's why I should have been going in my teenage years, but I was training being shouted, Mom.
Yeah, I was being a kid.
Yeah,
but
you know,
watching that video actually reminded me of one of my most broke-ass summers ever when my car broke down.
Is that the first video you watched of mine then?
No. Come on. Oh. I'm always creeping on your Instagram.
No, you've seen it. Yeah, it's the first time, because people are like...
I've never seen you did that. I didn't even know you skated. So
no, see, that's what I've realized, that growing up in London, we did everything. We didn't have a TV. You know, it was 3 channels. Boring staying at home. Sorry to interrupt you.
No.
My brother and I
tell the kids they didn't grow up without remotes like we did.
My brother and I watched Jackie Chan movies. So my brother's like 3 or 4 years younger. He's a better martial arts artist than I am, and he's tough as nails. And we used to play dodge with the cars. We used to live on this like really busy road, so we'd wait till the last minute and run. And then
I can't believe I'm not dead. I used to do that.
Yeah, I watched my brother get hit by a car, and he rolled over, got back, and we were running after the bus. But we purposely let it go late, because one of the buses you can jump on the back, and you can get up. So we'd let it go, and then we'd chase after it, because everyone would be staring at you, and we'd be those guys getting on the bus. We used to do that because of Jackie Chan. That was our childhood. We used to jump out, we used to pick trees in the park and go, all right, we're going to jump from that tree, bounce from that branch there, flip off, land on that branch, and then hang on this one. We did that in our lunch hour at school at 13, 14.
You know what? Because I was raised a redneck in Idaho. That's what we used to do during the winter. We would chase cars, grab onto the bumpers, and then ski behind them.
What?
Yeah!
I would have loved to have done that.
Oh my God, dangerous and stupid, but a blast.
My son would like that. I did, you know, when I was landing snake, so I was wicked, man. Like I never, you know, I remember coming out to LA and I had my headshots in the back. I was staying with John Ancanter. You'll see them at shows. He was putting us up, helping us out. So I traveled 2 hours up to LA to do meetings, auditions. My daughter was just born, 8 months old, 9 months old. And I hear this like, scream from her, from my little baby. I was, what the hell's wrong? Went into the back of the Explorer that was borrowed off John, and she's holding a picture of Darth Maul, and it's a full-on face of me going, ah! And she just couldn't put it down. She's holding it. So I swore no Darth Maul images anywhere. It really broke my heart, because she's my little girl. Yeah. So I didn't go, you know, that is Darth Maul. I don't do that. You know, you don't say, your dad is a bad guy. And so it's only when she come back from kindergarten that her friends go, Daddy, Michael said he's like, you're a bad guy. You play the bad guy, you're Darth Maul. So it was really hard to sort of, you know, it was just, I think he only wants to be my friend because so she got smart very, very young.
Right.
But when I landed Snake Eyes, of course, I'm jumping around. It was my Batman. I was jumping around the house like, Snake Eyes. So I can reinforce that positive Batman. The first words my son said was Batman, you know? Because
everybody loves Batman, yeah.
Yeah, man, it was my childhood. So it was, I don't know where I was going with that, but yes.
But no, but that reminds me that another point. Like that's the way society and the culture has changed. Where I grew up, couldn't wait to dress like Luke Skywalker. Now all my nephews can't wait to be Darth Vader.
Yeah, I know. Even my nephew wants to be Darth Vader. I was going with that because my son would have loved to do the skating behind the cars, like you. So when we had a big SUV and I was on the Hummer of G.I. Joe, because I did it, my wife would pull out the driveway. I would run after and go on the sideboards and grab on and let them drive up. And to see their faces at 3-4 years old was the best, you know?
Right. Nothing better than the smile and the laughter of a child.
Yeah, it's the best. So I'm giving that sort of ADHD story.
Well, we've gotten a lot of great stories. But yeah, look, and let me just promote your Instagram again, because that's you post so much stuff on there. You're being yourself. You're being real. And I think there is a disconnect in society, especially a lot with the newer, younger generations, that they don't understand that celebrities and actors and musicians, they're people too.
Yeah.
With extraordinary jobs, but people too.
Yeah, back in the day, my agents that I had at the time, they didn't like me doing conventions, or they felt that you've got to be untouchable, Ray. You've got to be a mystery. When I found out that you can be in martial art movies, it completely changed my focus. Like, I can be in a Jackie Chan movie. I mean, I can audition. When I saw Richard Norton in one of Jackie Chan's movies and Cynthia Rothrock, I thought they were all magic. People weren't real, you know? And then when Jackie would show his stunts that have maybe mishapped afterwards, he's got a plate in his head.
Those are the best.
Whoa. That's what you wait to see. Then he's going to show us how he did that, because you were like, how did he do that? So for me as a kid, when my brother and I ran after, we knew it was real, you know. So it really, when Jackie says, "I am the special effects," that's really hit home with me. I want to be able to do everything. We were talking earlier about stunts and acting. I wanted to be the full package, even stand in for myself. I made a joke to my friend the other day, because I used to fight, or not fight, but like on X-Men, I remember Corey Yen saying to me, great guy, big fan of his, walk on set, and as we're told bounties up the walls, he was explaining it, and I kind of clicked, and I go, wait a minute, am I doing this? I hope I'm doing this. So I said, I'm doing this, yeah? And he goes, oh, no, this is what your stunt double was going to do. What? I want to do it. And he goes, really? You want to do it? And I said, yes, that's why I'm on this movie. Not because I'm acting, you know, like, come on. You know, joke, you know.
It's not like Toad has a ton of lines, yeah.
Yeah, and so a few of my, since Star Wars, it's been one of those, I want to do it all. If George can make me in 4 places at once, because I did one shot on this set, went to that set, did another shot, came back, did another shot. I didn't mind bouncing around sets and doing it, but it doesn't always work in modern movie making, you know. You can't be in 2 places at once, and it's really sad for me, because I want to do everything. Even on G.I. Joe, I wanted to be under the car, you know. I was like, I'll do that. On X-Men, they wouldn't let me blow out the window. I'll do that.
You want to have your Indiana Jones moment where you're being dragged under and you got to climb up and kick some Nazi ass.
I want to do it all, because you learn. I was confident enough to do it, and it makes the character part of me. I've done worse. I've been through worse, but I get it for insurance purposes. But I joked with my buddy the other night, and I said, you know what? If I have to fight for me jumping out of a car at 50 miles an hour and doing a forward roll on the concrete and then running after Storm Shadow or a bad guy or a good guy, he can do it. I'll just do the acting stuff. He can do that. He can go and do the stunt. Let him have it.
Wisdom comes with age.
Yeah, I'm like, oh God, I'll just do that. But it's a joke. Of course, I still want to do it, you know?
Right. But at our age, we do have to be more cautious, yeah. But
things hurt a little bit differently. You get heavier as you get older. Even though you're not heavier, but you're heavier.
So you got any conventions coming up that you should be promoting in the near future?
Yes. So I took a break from conventions for a while, you know, because I was taking a break from myself as well. Just so you get a story, I just was like, to reset the button. Mental health, you know, we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. No. Hey, a convention weekend takes a lot out of you mentally. People have no idea.
Yeah, and it's not just conventions. It's a perspective of myself. I was finding that I was on Instagram a lot, posting videos, and I was training just for Instagram. I was finding that it was becoming addictive. And so if I'm off Instagram for 3 days, there's something wrong with me. You okay, Ray? No, it's just that I need to take a break from me, because what was happening was we would have a joke and so we'd train, and it would turn out on Instagram posing thing. We'd do stuff so we're going to show it later on Instagram. My best training sessions is when I done video, because I'm in it for myself. But if I want to have an easy day and I do something that's different, this is good. Oh, I'm gonna video this just for myself, and then later on I post it. I'll post this. No offense, and I really appreciate all the support I get, and it encourages me to do even better, because I never started it to be a role model or inspire anyone. I wanted to show that I'm doing it. Yeah, to get a job, I want to get more work. I'm not fat. I'm doing it. Even if I was fat, who cares? It was one of those. I'm still got the passion that will never leave me. I will do it. Like 5 months of training, I'm still twisting around and doing things. It's always there. But and I'm really grateful for the support, and it has made me think more about things different. Now I'm thinking about teaching again now, whereas I didn't want to teach. I used to teach. And so I'm thinking about doing that, because
I think a lot of kids could benefit from your perspective.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking. I never taught my kids, but I see kids now, and I've got a lot. The younger generation following me, and so I'm kind of feeling like the old me again. When I start teaching, there's a different side of me that comes out, and I start remembering. Oh, well, I know this. Whoa, wait a minute, and my brain starts doing crisscrosses, and I can't get the words out, because there's a lot of information in here that I just put to the side because I just train. I'm not saying this is a death technique in this. I'm just going, what would look good in movies? How can I stretch my body so far and make it look impossible? And it's all about a dance for me. But when I teach, and I went to teach my son, he punched my bag the other day, and then I felt awkward afterwards because I changed. I taught him how to punch it. And I tried not to use any words that were associated with hitting anyone. And because I wanted to teach him properly, so he wouldn't hurt himself, and teach him a good punch. If you're going to do, I said, the punch is the last thing you do. Because once you close that fist and you twist and you make contact, that's it. You've lost your self-dignity, unless you really have to. And that's why I never punch the bag angry. I never get angry at it. Because once I did do it, and I almost broke my wrist, and I was angry at myself. But it's always artistic. So I taught him, but I felt sick afterwards. So I used the words like, if you had to defend yourself, I felt sick teaching them that. So I did what my teachers do: get a piece of paper, and you do if you do a proper punch, not a boxing punch, but a martial art punch, we twist. It's called a midsection punch. If you can snap the paper in half without touching it from the air, then you've got a good punch. So I taught him that. And he was fascinated by a pizza box. I said, look, there's a difference. If you just throw a punch, you hear the sound. But if you just snap it, there's not a lot of power, but speed. Bruce Lee, it goes whack, and cracks like a big bell. It goes bang. And he was just amazing. I hardly touched it. And so it was a nice little game. And that's when I got a piece of paper out. Because it is. Try and snap a piece of paper, just holding it without touching it. Some ninja stuff there.
No, and you're right. Once you've thrown that punch, like you have lost a little bit of yourself. I was a bouncer at a bar where
really?
We had a fight every Tuesday. I actually broke up a knife fight that I was I was the key witness for 6 years to put that guy in prison. And
wow.
Oh yeah. I used to pick people up and pile drive them.
What?
Wrestle moves, use their head to knock open doors. Like, these are dumb drunks taking swings at me who's sober. Like, I don't like to fight. Like, the fact that you think you can take me right now, you're just being stupid.
Wow.
Like, I know I could never take you. I don't even like to fight. But at the same time, it's like, I knew, once you get to that physical thing, you are losing a little bit of yourself. And you've lost the fight. And like I said, I prefer to talk my way out of a fight. I hate fighting.
Yeah, me too. I like pretending to be artistic and do a fantastic routine, but I don't. When I hear stories about people looking for fights, I get really, I cringe from personal experiences. I've been on the wrong receiving end of that once, and
well, especially as a martial artist, people want to step up to you and challenge you.
Well, I don't walk around like a martial artist. I don't go, and that's what I want people to know. Just because I do really fantastic things in movies doesn't mean I'm a badass in real life, like what you think in movies. I can't fight my way out. I mean, I'm from the old school fighting. You won't see me go, blah, blah, blah. I'm running away, so I'm not, it's not me, and so don't be disappointed.
Well, in this day of bullying, and now most of bullying is done on social media, I think that's a really good message that kids need to hear, especially from Darth Maul.
Well, yeah, you know, I got a friend who's telling me stories about 8-year-olds thinking about killing themselves and having thoughts like, when I was 8, I never thought anything like that, ever. So so I look at my kids and I look at them, and sometimes you're in your own world and you're busy, and I'm focusing about how can I improve myself, but not really paying attention sometimes, you know, like, because and parents do that when you're tired. And then I said to my wife the other day, I was like, if I could read minds, then I would know what's going on with the kids, because you never know. Right. And it's been happening a lot more. It's a lot more. The good thing is it's this help, you know, we know about it, you know, it's not, and it just saddens me, you know, like kids would think that to go there, you know.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, man. Sorry.
No. I wasn't trying to interrupt you either. Like, yeah. and you're right, and that's the way society has changed so much compared to when we were kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, I've even heard my mom and dad say things. I've said things out loud because I'm just angry myself. You know, like, oh, I'm sick of this, or, you know. I came out to LA to work as an actor, you know, and we were talking about conventions earlier. I know actors that want to do a job so they can do a convention, you know, which is fine. It's great. Conventions are wicked. It's the best. You know, it's fun.
You get the right nerd role, you can make money the rest of your life just signing autographs. Yeah.
You know, and people used to look down at it as a shame. I still have a hard time getting around in my mind the autographs, selling for photos. It's still really, it's like, that's why I don't teach at the moment, because you get it for free. And I'm not a very good businessman, because what happens is when I used to do privates, and I was and then, oh, wait, you want to train with Darth Maul? So it'd be like, from £50 an hour, it become £200 an hour, because everyone's telling you that's what you should be charging because it's Darth Maul. And so I was like, what? So yeah, I knew I'd never make money not make money, support myself and my family from teaching. Because none of all of my peers, they just about got by, but they loved it. And the thing is that I watched my mum and dad scrape and suffer, borrow money from all their neighbors and shopkeepers to send me to Malaysia at 15 when they had no money. I remember Christmases we had no money. And then, you know, so I've had a thing about Christmas for a long time, because it's right. Just because Christmas doesn't mean you're going to get all loads of presents, but you do. Santa does bring presents. But it's about being with each other as well and all that. And so I just remember those times, and it stuck in my head. I went to Malaysia and China. I never got charged once. And you'd always offer. And the masters would be getting up at 5 in the morning and train you and teach you new forms. And so it has something in me. Like, if I was to give up everything, I've got to make money somehow and support the family. And I'll figure something out, you know, probably, you know, I don't know, dance for a living or something like that. But
you don't have to charge an arm and a leg to make it work either.
Yeah, so and
that's the great thing about you, is you realize that you're not trying to screw people over. You want to pass on your actual knowledge. And brother, I believe in you. If you want to do this, you'll find a way to do it.
Yeah, like if you want to come and learn from Darth Maul lightsaber stuff, yeah, I'm going to charge you the secret stuff, because I work my arse off for all that stuff. The grinding and the suffering and crying every night when I was younger. I'm joking, but you know. But if you come up to me at a convention and you say, I'm a martial artist, you do this, and then that's what happens. If you ever notice, if I get really excited when I hit other people come up and talk about martial arts. Not that I'm showing myself off. They just remind me of my old self. It's not like, hey, I have to prove myself. I like hearing what they can do. And then it just kind of just buzzes me, and then it makes me want to do more martial arts. I want to learn more. I feel like I know nothing. My body just goes into play whenever a certain beat is on. And I just move, and whatever I've done over the years, it just falls into play. But it's I wouldn't know what the best technique would be to do, what the best martial art is to do. The best one is one that you enjoy just for yourself, you know. Right. I came on here thinking I'm only going to do 10, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, because I got some training to do. I want to get outside and skate. And I'm going to get my lightsaber. I'm going to post another video. But now it's going to be midnight before I get to do that. They're sick of me.
You know what? I should have known better that we were just going to talk. This is going to be like a 2-hour podcast with the other guests. But no, actually, this is a good place to end. And
yes, man, you're great, man.
We've covered so much. I can't wait to see you again in person. It's been a while.
I do have shows. I do have shows to promote.
So yeah. We changed the subject. Let's get to that, and we'll end this baby. But you got conventions coming up. What's coming up?
Yeah, because see, you asked me a question, and I gave you something else. This is how we get right. We give him a certain question, and he's going to talk about something else. Just put keywords in there.
ADHD, brother. Okay, upcoming cons.
All right, so I'm last minute booking to Ace in Boston. Ewan McGregor's going to be there.
Ooh, nice. Ace, great convention run by Stephen, old friend. They used to run Wizard World Convention. He puts on a good convention. I recommend the Ace conventions. That's awesome to hear. What else?
It was all last minute because I kind of was like taking a break, and then I suddenly went, hey, I want to get out there. I want to do something now. I want to do something now, like this weekend. So there's a few I've just missed I would have done. So that, and then Kentucky. I don't have the contract in front of me, but it's the following weekend after Ace. Hold on a second. I can tell you now. Hold on.
Which your fans can find as you post them coming up on your Instagram and social media.
They're still being confirmed and stuff like that. So it's 2 coming up next month in March.
Oh,
and
awesome.
Then I'm going to Argentina in May, which is I'm looking forward to.
Ooh.
I had to cancel 2 shows last year that I want to revisit this year because things are going on in my life and personal. And I just need to readjust. But Panama and Colombia, I want to do that again. So if anyone from Panama and Colombia is wondering why I cancelled, I will hopefully be there this year or next. I would like to do that.
I've heard really good things about the Panama convention. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to do it, but it was just, I want to take the family with me and I want to make it a nice trip. But it was just circumstance. I cancelled a bunch of shows last year, but just things are happening. You know, I didn't want to cancel. I hate cancelling shows, ever. Who wants to cancel on a good time, you know? A great time away. So, and then there's a few, I'm going to be in Washington in the summer, which is great. I'm looking forward to that. I was, in January, I was thinking about getting in my truck, packing 1 bag of gym gear, and just saying to my manager, John, can you put me up some shows like every weekend or every 2 or 3 weekends? I was just going to drive across the United States, do a documentary for myself, go to every gym, sleep in a truck, camp out, and just do something and go all the way over to Washington at first to see my buddy Will. He's a deputy sheriff. I was going to go and hang out with him and help him build his like gym and stuff like that because I've said I would bring my tools. And then it was just like, hey, let's just go and do a road trip and just by myself. And maybe I'll find a dog along the way and he'll follow me and it'll be like Timber. And we'll have this new life thing going on. And the dog and I will have this conversation and it'll be on the road again. Ding, 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 ding,
Oh my God.
80s, man.
I can't wait for that movie. That's awesome. So follow Ray Park on all of his social media so you can find out what conventions he's going to be adding to his list as the year goes on. Now
there's only 2 social medias, Twitter and Instagram. That's it. Nothing else.
That's all you need, really.
Well, so, I didn't even want to do Instagram at one point, and I canceled Twitter years ago. And then people start advertising me at shows and fans come, you were supposed to be at that show last week. So I had to sign back. I was anti all of that. And then I had to sign back up just to keep in check. Yeah, I don't care if you want to pretend to be me, but just don't abuse people and do bad things and be perverted or whatever, and then think it's me. Right. And then come up and threaten me or challenge me when I don't know what you're talking about. No one's done that to me. But that's what I get concerned about kids getting taken advantage of and stuff like that. I don't care if you want to pretend to be me, but just don't take advantage of people. Like people do it and sign up, and I don't sit there and go, oh no, there's another person taking my name on Instagram. I better shut them down. I don't care. I worry about the fans, I see there's 2,000 followers. Wait a minute, 2,000 people think that's me. What has he been saying or she been saying? What has the computer been saying,
Yeah, you got to be careful. The internet's a weird place.
Yeah, and when family members believe false news, what? What are you talking about? Just because it was said once on the internet. Oh, but didn't say it once on the internet, it must be right.
Yeah, no, actually, and I remember something happening a year ago where I jumped on your Instagram and was like, y'all need to shut up. You don't know what a nice guy this guy is. Like, yeah, I still don't even know what the hell happened, but I immediately was like jumping to your defense.
No, I saw that, man.
Come on,
man.
I'm old-timey fisticuffs. That's
if I was able to do that, that's what I wanted to do. So my brother was doing unlicensed fighting at one point. He was testing himself, it's illegalized. When you get in the square and it's a Sunday morning fight. were doing it was a big thing in England at the time. And, you know, the big promotions and the big banners they would have for the fights and that. And it was generating a lot of, not money, but it was popular. So I had this fantasy in my head that I would do it because everyone would go, that's Ray Park, that's Chris Park's brother. He's going to be good. I'd come out with my little moustache and actually fight box like that, like the old timers, and do the whole shuffle thing and just have fun with it. Not use any martial arts at all, but just have fun for entertainment. And you just reminded me of that.
That would be hilarious, but I got to tell you, everyone in that audience would have been extremely disappointed.
Yeah. You know, it'd be hard to jump in the ring and not pick up my foot. I don't know if I've ever done it, but I'm so used to doing it outside with Bob that he looks at me and I go, what are you looking at? And then, but I never hit him angrily. He's my mate, but he's helped me improve, you know? And then suddenly, is that one of your cats, dogs?
Yeah, the kitty just pushed the door open. And
oh, what? That's time for you to go. It's food time.
Hi, babies.
Yeah,
Yes, this is Lilu. She wanted to say hi. You know, Lilu,
beautiful.
Fifth Element.
Yeah, beautiful.
So, but yeah, brother, it has been an absolute pleasure, honor, and treat having you on the podcast and just catching up with you. I can't wait to see you again in person. Hopefully, once I get the doctors to figure out what the fuck is wrong with my health.
Yeah. Whereabouts are you located?
I'm in Albuquerque, New Mexico now.
Oh, what? So you're about an hour away, yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, time zone.
Yeah. An hour away, and it's like a 9-hour drive to get back to California, which I can't do by myself. Actually, I'll be out there in October for my best friend's wedding. Let's try and hook up.
I might come out. I'm thinking as a spontaneous thing of coming out to New Mexico soon, just for a little road trip. So if I do, I'll let you know.
You absolutely should, man. This town is cool, and I'm not gonna lie. Albuquerque has some of the nicest people I've ever freaking met. Like, I was not expecting that here, and it's amazing. Like, it's
yeah.
I was not excited to move here because
when did you move?
Back in September after I was living with my sister in San Diego, and she overdosed this summer, and she was my caretaker. So I had to move here with my other sister, who's now my new caretaker. So yeah, life changes and happens fast.
Did she overdose and pass away? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh shit, man. Sorry.
Yeah. So don't do drugs, kids. Stay away from that fentanyl. It's nasty, nasty stuff. And she's a nurse, and she should have known better. So, but her mental
she was in pain,
yeah, her mental health wasn't there.
Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's a harsh reality, but it's part of my life and my reality, and I don't mind talking about it because it's something that should be discussed openly and honestly.
I've heard that. Yeah, you're right. Like one of my my daughters, it upset me because she was upset. But bullying, it's at age group. You know, like not my daughter, but someone at her school went to a party. Maybe kids a little bit older, but something happened where she felt bad and upset, and she ended up overdosing on prescription, and it wasn't hers. And that's what's frightening. It's so scary that, you know, it's sung about in songs and like it's okay, I'm going to pop this and be on a flight and I'm going to do this. No. This is serious and it's very addictive and it can mess you up.
Yep, exactly.
You know? So I'm really sorry to hear about that, man. That's why I don't take painkillers anymore. I swore not to take them. Even when I was in pain, I don't want anything. I just want to know if it's okay.
Extremely addictive.
Yeah, and but when I had my hip surgery, I had to take them because it was scary. But I don't take them, and I don't want to take them. You know, but I can see where you can get messed up and hooked.
And same. And with the pain I'm dealing with that we were talking about earlier, like I've been offered painkillers by the doctors, and I flat out said no because for one, I don't like painkillers, never have. Two, I got to be in the most excruciating pain that I got to take them.
Yeah, exactly.
And three, I have been in that kind of pain, and they didn't touch my pain. So if it's not working for the amount of pain I'm in, what's the point?
Yeah, well, you start just taking them, and then it's like more than you're supposed to take if you're not in pain. My wife always says to me, "You never take painkillers when you're supposed to." I don't want it. I don't want them. I took a Tylenol for the first time in a year, just recently, because my hip is killing me. It's waking me up at night. So I'm eventually have to get my other hip replaced. He told me that when I had my first one done. So I was cranking, and it's my good leg. I'm like, blah, 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 blah. I know I'm messing myself up even more. Really, I should not be kicking, been doing yoga and doing little exercises, but no, I want to go all out, put it in the best gear I can and just go, 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 go. So last night was a terrible night for me last night. I was in so much pain. Like, it was annoying, but I welcomed it. You know, it was kind of weird, but it was annoying. It stopped me from sleeping the last couple of nights. But I do not want to. I'm looking forward to it. No, I don't want it. I want to do. You know, it's just. I know from the first hip surgery what to do better now. You know, because I had solo coming out. I wanted to be recovered fast. You know, speed up. Because you know, but now I'll just let you know. As long as you go in there fit and healthy, you'll bounce back quicker.
Yeah, the body's amazing. The body is an amazing self-healing thing when done right. So yeah.
Yeah, I hope everything works out with you, man.
You know what? It will. I have faith, and you know, life moves on. You deal with it the best you can with the cards you're dealt. So
yeah, exactly, man. Yeah. You know, hopefully I haven't made you suffer too much keeping you on. How long have we been on here? 2 hours?
I don't know. I lost. I'll find out after I hit stop recording.
Yeah, that's been me recently. I've just been doing this.
Well,
that's what happens when you're on your own. You sit by yourself.
Yeah, I know. And there's another reason. Look, with everything I've been going on, I've been going stir crazy sitting at home. I'm like, well, it's time to start the podcast back up from 10 years ago and just do it from home so that I don't go. This is for my mental health. So thank you.
Yeah.
You're actually helping my mental health.
And you actually help. I said to my wife, I said, I don't normally do podcast interviews. I told you at the beginning. And I said, but I like him, and it's Paul. I wanted to do it, and he's been asking me, and she goes, "No, it'll be good for you. You need something to stick to and have a routine, you know, because I'm free to do things and train whenever I want." But yeah, and especially what you went through, man, as well. It's been a lot for you as well, you know. Keep focused, man.
Well, it is, and you know, positivity is a choice. It doesn't mean I don't recognize the negativity and everything.
Oh yeah.
But staying positive has always been one of my monikers. Positivity breeds positivity. When you think positive, you speak positive, you act positive. Positive things happen in your life.
You know, I do agree with that. I think Vic Armstrong, one of the gods of the stunt world, you know, Indiana Jones, he always had a smile on his face. And someone else told me a story that he always smiled, and everyone else around him was always happy because he was always happy. Sometimes I choose to be in a mood. I feel a mood on. I want to stay in that mood. It feels, it's somewhere I'm comfortable with sometimes, but I have to recognize, I do recognize now, it affects everyone else in the family. Even though I'm not telling them and I'm not acting moody to them, but it's like, you know, you pick up. So I've learned now.
It's energy, and smiles are contagious, like you're talking about, basically.
And I agree with you. Positivity, man, does open up a lot of doors. Like getting out of bed and going, right, I'm going to get a job. I used to come out to LA and go, I'm going to get something this week. I can feel it. And then you land a job. You know, so it is something, it helps, keeps you motivated.
Manifestation.
Yeah. And there's a lot of stresses in life. You know, everyone thinks I'm living off Star Wars money and I'm all right. I'll tell you something. I haven't got any money in the bank. I'm just about paying my mortgage.
Star Wars money was spent a long time ago. Doing one movie doesn't make you wealthy and rich, people.
No, it doesn't. And doing TV shows doesn't. And if you can get merch, I don't do merchandise, but if you can get like sponsors and stuff through sports and stuff, you can support yourself. But it's just life,
if you're not working, you're not making money, and that's why you go to conventions to subsidize that.
Yeah, and be out there and be able, and it reinforces. Yeah, it does. You know, no one does conventions for free, but it's like I still like have my heart. That's what I said. And my buddy said to me,
"Stop saying you'll do stuff for free. People are watching."
No. But my mindset before Phantom Menace, you know, I've got kids and mortgage and bills to pay, and believe me, those are really close. No, for the last 3 months, I've had no money in the bank, and I've behind 3 months in my mortgage and truck. But I'm not stressed out. I was, but I didn't want to train. But now I'm just like, well, whatever, you know, whatever.
Yeah,
I still got me.
And keep just everything you're talking about and your energy and everything. I'm excited to see what's about to come your way, because I think something will.
I hope so, man. I hope it's something that I really enjoy, not for fame, not for money, something that I can just go, I'm really proud of this. I can walk away from something going, I could have done that better. Why was I nervous? I can just, if it's acting or whatever, I just want to be really happy about it. And I always said, I would never do a job I don't want to do. No, Why? I was just going, why are you doing that anyway? Why don't you do a job you want to do to someone? But sometimes you have to now. But I still go, no, I'm doing a job I want. If it means me losing the house, I'm going to do my job. But it's not fun being stressed out and thinking you're going to lose the house. It's not fun at all.
Whoever came up with the idea of bills monthly is an idiot and an asshole. I'm pissed off at them.
Yeah.
But brother.
Yeah, man.
Thank you very much for being on the show. I look forward to seeing you here in New Mexico or soon out there in California.
Yeah, man. I'll be seeing you soon. And, you know, like, if you ever need anything or just a little chat, give me you got my number now. Give me a little tinkle. And you're not that far away. And it's been a while since I've done a show. I always look at shows for, okay, I've got a buddy there. I can do this. I want to do that show. So, yeah, I'll be seeing you soon, man. But thanks. Sorry for talking so long. I swore to myself, no energy drinks, just a coffee. Don't train first. Talk to you first. Because if I train, I'm going to be even more. So I'm just like that anyway.
I appreciate it. I got nothing but love for you, brother. And
too,
I will
Thank
see you
you
somewhere down the road.
Yeah, I'll see you soon, man. And keep strong and may the force be with you. SITH RULE!